Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto finds something more interesting than a clone technique part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. In the dim moonlight that filled the forest on the outskirts of Konoha, a child-sized and shaped figure darted among the bases of the time-scared trees. Despite abundant undergrowth, the small figure moved without a sound, disturbing its surroundings no more than a faint breeze. For all this incredible skill, the figure was easily spotted given its choice of eye-searing bright colors for clothes and natural hair and eye pigments. Berating this figure for his fashion taste would have no effect though. He was far too concerned with garnering attention than ruination of his stealth. This male figure, a young boy, was named Naruto Uzumaki. He was known by many other names though, precious few of them positive. He heard the muttered insults of demon child, fox beast, and monster brat far more than the kindly stated favorite customer and friend. A lifetime of loneliness, a decade of hateful looks, and endless curses had left their mark on this child's mind, far too many emotional scars to be healthy for any person. It was these scars that lead to an early choice of a dark career and a bright dream. It was these scars that lead a young man to sabotage his own hopes in favor of fleeting recognition. And it was those same scars that would forever drastically change his life for good or ill. As the flaxen-haired youth settled into the small clearing where he'd been instructed to study, Lady Luck rolled her fickle dice. Studying the result, the lady smiled and blessed her favorite son once more. Twitching nervously, an excited Naruto Uzumaki reached for the ties holding the infamous sacred scroll of sealing shut. When the ninja in training had heard that all he'd have to do to finally graduate from the academy, it had taken all his limited self-control not to laugh out loud. The blonde had been in and out of the Hokage's tower since he'd been just a toddler. The contents and ways of the supposedly secure tower had long since ceased to be a secret to him. The most difficult part of the entire graduation mission had been finding the right scroll in the cluttered mess that constituted the Hokage's personal library. Laughing loudly at the memory of dodging Anbu and making the legendary god of shinobi faint with a nosebleed, Naruto grabbed the ties to the scroll and whipped them off with a flourish. Suddenly equal parts calm and super excited, Naruto looked down to peruse just what super cool technique he would learn to finally become a ninja of the leaf. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto twitched, seeing that the first technique was a clone variation. There just had to be something better than that. Bunshin Bakuho no Jutsu. Naruto twitched again. While the idea of exploding doppelgangers sounded awesome, he still couldn't do clones for some reason. Pass. Kage Shuriken Bunshin no Jutsu. Twitch. Again, awesome sounding, but requiring that damnable clone technique. Growling in frustration now, Naruto decided going one by one was taking too long and with a snap of his arms, unrolled the whole scroll. Standing up, he walked the length of the sacred scroll. To his growing horror, however, not a single additional technique could be read. Each and every one of them was blurry and indistinct, the instructions surrounded by odd kanji and ink patterns that screamed just one thing at his sharp, if sporadic survival instincts. Back the fuck off. Groaning childishly, the ninja trainee listlessly continued to the end of the scroll in sheer pig-headed stubbornness, hoping to find just one more technique that wasn't impossible to read. Then, finally, just as he was about to give up and try his hand at that stupid shadow clone thing, he caught just the barest hint of color where the scroll was supposed to attach to a central wooden rod for support and ease of carrying. Seating himself at the end of the scroll, Naruto grasped the end of the scroll paper and the exposed part of the rod before giving it a tug. When it didn't come loose, he gave it a harder tug. When that didn't work, he scowled and just gave the damn thing a great big heave. Hell, they could always just glue the thing back together, right? Right, yip. Naruto was distracted from sudden thoughts of just how much trouble even he'd be in for damaging the sacred scroll by a sudden flood of color from what appeared to be the single most complex piece of artwork the young boy had ever seen. Having never been the artsy type, he had no clever words to describe the image in front of him, and even the notoriously dense young ninja trainee knew that just saying awesome and super cool was just not going to cut it here. The basic pattern reminded him of a spider web, if an unusually complex one. It was spread out, covering almost the entirety of a 3-foot by 2-foot area. Pearlescent lines of the web were overlaid but not concealed by an assortment of something that looked awfully similar to the kanji he was familiar with. Whatever this writing was though, it was far less graceful than the elemental nation's written language, possessing a more angular set and some unnameable quality that brought to mind ancient times. The frame of the web was strange, a jagged oval pattern that almost looked to be as blurry as the hidden instructions on the scroll of sealing. The whole of the pattern might have been enough to hold his flighty attention by itself, however, the entire thing was drawn in precious stones. From the simplest of black lines to most intricate of pearly whorls, everything was drawn in clinging powered gems. Naruto didn't really know anything about geology, but he was pretty sure there were diamonds, rubies, and a bunch of other really expensive rocks apparently glued to the paper. Scratching his head, Naruto couldn't help but wonder why someone would spend so much money on a pretty but seemingly useless piece of art, and then hide it in the least seen and most heavily guarded scroll in the village. Shrugging away the weirdness of it, Naruto reached out and brushed his hand over the gemstone pattern, curious about what it would feel like. I bet I could get the old man to let me keep this. It's not like it's dangerous, and if anybody owned this, there's no way they'd just leave it here. Even as the boy's words left his lips, his finger caught on a shard of gemstone that jutted invisibly out from the pattern. There was a brief pinching sensation followed by a couple drops of blood smearing on one of the odd kanji. The academy student swore out loud, annoyed at himself for already managing to dirty the artwork that he'd planned on talking the old man out of. Any further action was stalled when the pattern glowed. Gaping, the blonde watched shocked as the glow increased to a brilliant shine, spiking up to blinding briefly before fading away. Dropping the pattern and scroll, Naruto frantically rubbed his eyes, trying to get rid of the sting of losing his night's sight. Blinking away the last of the spots in his vision, Naruto looked around for the pattern. He didn't find it though. Instead, where it should have been, was a sword. It lay flat on the forest floor, at first resembling a thin shadow. Forged heavy and straight, a more weapon-savvy individual than Naruto would have recognized it as a Western long sword, meant to cut down armored opponents. The blade was a simple, plain affair despite being made in a light-eating shade of black, reflecting not an ounce of illumination. The hilt was far more ornate and colorful. The crossguard was made of a dull silvery metal, thick and strong enough to catch and stop even a heavy blow. Sweeping up towards the tip of the sword, the sides of the guard were engraved with images of smoke banks and clouds of shadows, all inlaid with gray opal and obsidian. The handle was made of the same metal and wrapped with woven silk the color of dried blood. Even more of the silvery metal made up the pommel, encasing a flawless transparent diamond. Compared to the rest of the sword, the polished stone positively gleamed, drawing Naruto's fascinated attention. Entranced, the young blonde slowly reached out and laid a single finger on the gem, not quite sure why he wanted to. Because I wanted to see what sort of person had released me from my imprisonment. Naruto froze. Released from prison? What were you doing in prison? He asked nervously, his mind struggling to wrap itself around what was happening. It was not a speedy process. The same reason that anyone else would be in jail, really. The sword chuckled, a somewhat rough sound that made Naruto think of the old man's time and smoke-scored voice. I misbehaved and society slapped me on the hand, saying don't do that. To be more accurate, my previous wielder got a little rowdy. Rowdy? You're a little too young to hear just what he was up to, though if I understand what a ninja is, you will be worldly enough to hear about his activities soon. Naruto frowned. He wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he'd learned to sense mood shifts in people through exposure to grumbling crowds. You sound like you don't know what a ninja is, sword. You ninja weren't around the last time I was free, boy. Forgive me if I am a little behind on modern knowledge. Perhaps you care to tell me about it in detail? I can only see so much in a person's mind at a time. I can't. I've got to learn one of these techniques off the scroll or wait, see into my mind? Are you reading my mind? Naruto blurted out, jabbing a finger at the sword. Get out of my head, you stupid hunk of metal! The sword's voice snarled in Naruto's head. You should have let go of me before spitting that insult, boy. You will regret insulting the black mirage blade. With that, Naruto felt a horrendous stabbing pain covering all parts of his brain right before passing out. Face down and fully clothed, there was no way for anyone without a Byakugan to see an entirely colorless copy of the pattern Naruto had admired earlier appear on his chest. Drip. Drip. What? Drip splash. Eyes snapping open, Naruto sat up, hearing the echo of a footstep over the splashing sound. Looking around, wondering how long he'd been out for water to have gathered, the blonde was stunned by his surroundings. Instead of the quiet forest clearing, he was now in a dreary underground passageway. Dim, unevenly spaced lights provided more gloom than they dispelled, leaving most of the passage shadowed. Still, Naruto could see the worn bricks that made up the surfaces of the area, as well as the dank-looking pipes that clung to the edges of the ceiling. Shaking his head in amazement at the sheer dismalness the tunnel seemed to exude, Naruto stood up and brushed himself off. Deciding to follow to Splash in hopes of finding someone capable of leading him out here, Naruto took a steady ground-eating stride. As minutes passed, it was only tiny changes in the colors of the bricks and pipes that assured the now worried ninja trainee that he was actually going somewhere. Finally, though, Naruto could see the light increasing ahead. Moving faster, Naruto headed straight for the light. Seeing a corner coming up, Naruto quickly turned around it expecting to see the person he heard earlier or maybe a door out of the tunnel. He sure as hell wasn't expecting an enormous bronze gate with a strip of paper instead of a padlock. What the hell? Why the hell is there a big-ass gate in the middle of a tunnel, sewer, whatever this is? Here already human? You must have a devil's luck to have gotten here before that weapon spirit did. Naruto stared, dumbfounded, at the sight of a gigantic set of predator-sharp teeth and cat-slit blood-red eyes hovering well over 100 feet in the air behind the gate doors. Eyes, teeth, what's going on? How am I to know human? I do not pay attention to what you humans do. Something as insignificant as a little human sword would not have caught my interest. Oh. Naruto managed, still not sure what was going on. Still, given the circumstances, I cannot help but be intrigued. Who knew there existed in this world a blade with such tricks? This black mirage blade, though, it seems to have a mind of its own, a true sentience. That I have never heard of nor seen in all my long years. The eyes and teeth lowered much closer to the ground, barely hovering above it now. That fact, boy, is why I have decided to take an interest in you. Be grateful, human. It has been a very long time since I have offered assistance to any of your species. An deep, unsettling feeling finally pushed its way past his stunned numbness and kicked his mind into gear. Help me? What are you supposed to be helping me with? The eyes behind the gates didn't answer. Instead, the grin widened and a wave of red energy pushed out past the gates and picked up Naruto, carrying him like a rushing tide. Bricks and pipes raced past him blindingly fast, turning it all into a blur. Luckily for Naruto's stomach, it didn't take long for the wave to slow and then stop, depositing him on the floor as the red energy faded away. Stupid thing, just because it's bigger than me doesn't mean it can just pick me up and throw me around like a toy. You can't do that to a future Hokage. Shouting back down the tunnel, Naruto waved his fist for emphasis. Considering that I find you yelling at a demon lord, being called a hunk of metal seems so much less important. Naruto whirled, recognizing the abuse-roughened voice. You! Naruto shouted, pointing. I thought I told you get out of my head, sword. The avatar of the sword smirked, stepping into the low light offered in the tunnel. Standing 5 feet 7 inches, the avatar was on the low side of average height for the westerner he appeared as. He was very fit though, athletic rather than bulky. A full head of short black hair and deep brown eyes blended well with his dark tan. The plain and functional clothes added to the overall appearance, giving the smirking figure a very militaristic air. Crossing his arms and leaning against the wall behind him, Black Mirage chuckled. I honestly can't tell, boy, whether you are utterly fearless or too stupid and ignorant to know you should be terrified. You yell at a demon lord. You insult and harangue me, even though I could have crushed your mind like an egg had it not been for the Hell Lord you were just screaming at. Tell me, Naruto Uzumaki, if I were to just break you, would your resident defend you? Naruto straightened, gaining focus as stepped into a familiar situation, the mockery and scorn of others. It doesn't matter. The boy started quietly, his voice steadily rising in volume and passion. It doesn't matter what you do or say. It doesn't matter what tricks you try. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage of Konoha. I gave my word that I'd be the respected and honored leader of this village one day, and I will never die until I've completed my promise. Bring on your worst scrap metal, I'm not afraid of you. Naruto crossed his arms and glared right back at Black Mirage. He might not fully have understood what was going on here, and he had some serious questions for the old man, but Naruto Uzumaki never backed down. Heh. Hee. Bwa ha ha ha. A promise? You risk life, limb, mind and soul because of a promise? I suppose that settles my question, boy. You're a bigger fool than any of my previous wielders ever were. Laughing hard, Black Mirage didn't see Naruto's eyes light with an inner fire, as it seemed there was yet another person laughing at his precious dream. He did, however, hear the boy's steps as he charged and looked up in time to be slugged in the jaws with all of the ninja trainee's strength. With a meaty thwack, the blade's avatar flew down the tunnel and tumbled to a painful stop. Naruto bounced on the balls of his feet, ready to fight, hands up and loose. The avatar moved slowly, raising to his feet without a word. Still not speaking, he wiped his mouth with one hand, raising it to look at the thin crimson smear on his palm. Naruto jerked his head when the avatar finally looked up and stared him in the eyes. Whenever you're ready, scrap metal, Naruto taunted. I'm ready to kick your ass. It started small, a little twitch of the lips, but the man began to smile and finally, grin manically, showing all his teeth. You really are a little fool. But from now on, you're my fool, boy. I, the Black Mirage, the shifting sword of illusions and trickery, accept you as my wielder. Till the end of your days, Naruto Uzumaki, you shall bathe me in the blood of your enemies and together we shall be legends. The avatar of the sword faded into smoke, carrying the scent of sage and other unidentifiable herbs. Our partnership starts now, boy. I look forward to fulfilling my purpose once again. Naruto looked puzzled, as the walls of tunnels around him darkened and began to fade. You have a purpose? What kind of purpose? You'll find out soon enough. Now get up. Get up. Naruto, wake up, damn it! Gah! What the hell, who's yelling? I am dumbass. Naruto swiveled, spotting the source of the voice. Iruka-sensei, what are you doing here? How do you even find me? How do you always manage to find me? Already worked up, Naruto ranted about the unfairness of always being caught by one's teacher no matter whether or not a prank was involved. Patiently waiting for his most troublesome student to wind down, Iruka allowed himself a smile. Naruto seemed to be his normal self, and he didn't seem to be worried about the scroll, so the academy teacher concluded that the blonde prankster hadn't done this maliciously. But that left the question of why he'd done it. Naruto, I have a minor chakra sensor talent. Huh? Iruka chuckled. You wanted to know how I've always found you. I have a very small gift for chakra sensing. It takes me a few weeks to tag someone's chakra, but once I do, I can find them from over a mile away. It's a very useful skill to have on rescue missions. Now that I've answered your question, Naruto, perhaps you'd care to tell me just why you felt it was okay to steal our village's most important jutsu collection. The tone was calm enough, but the look in the older man's eyes was enough to make Naruto spill his guts quickly. Mizuki-sensei told me that if I stole the scroll and learned a technique from I'd graduate. Horror began to filter over Naruto's face. But I forgot to learn a technique. I got distracted by the sword. Naruto! The teacher shouted, grabbing his student's shoulders. Calm down. What was that you said about Mizuki? Iruka never heard the boy's answer as he felt a familiar chakra nearby. Killing intent spiked from it, followed by the whistling of thrown weapons. Pushing Naruto away, Iruka tried to get clear himself, but he wasn't fast enough and several kunai punctured his body. Mizuki! What do you think you're doing? Grinning evilly, the silver-haired Chunin landed on the branch of a nearby tree, an oversized shuriken spinning on one hand. When I saw you find that brat, I thought I'd have to come up with a convincing lie, but seeing you treat him like he was a friend even after he stole the scroll, well, that changes things. This whole thing was my idea, Iruka. I knew the demon would fail again, like he always does. But this year, I decided to take advantage of it. Thanks to the fox, I have the scroll, and all the power that comes from it. What kind of moron are you? Naruto shouted, moving next to Iruka. Most of that scroll can't even be read, and there isn't even a fox here. Mizuki's grin widened and Iruka felt a chill go down his spine. He wouldn't. He couldn't. But Mizuki was already betraying the village. He obviously felt no qualms in revealing an S-class secret, especially not if he could hurt the demon child while doing it. Tell me, Naruto, have you ever wondered why everyone hates you? Why no one in this village cares for you at all? Don't do it, Mizuki, you'll make your sentence worse. Mizuki ignored the other man. The truth is, Naruto, that you are the greatest disaster this village has ever seen. You are the Kyuubi no Yuko. Damn you, Mizuki! As the two men started screaming at each other, hurling threats and accusations, Naruto fell into a stunned silence, not hearing a word of the men's exchange. The young blonde couldn't believe it. He was the Kyuubi? The nine-tailed living natural disaster who seemed to exist for the sole purpose of laying waste to everything. If he was the demon, though, it explained so much. Why the villagers hated him. Why he was always so alone. Why? Please. If you are the Kyuubi, then I'm a teapot. This does tell me which demon lord is trapped inside you, though. I would suggest being careful if you plan to approach him in the future. No demon becomes a lord without a great deal of power and cunning, and I would not be pleased to see my first wielder in centuries die because he didn't say the right thing. Black Mirage? The whispered words didn't register with Iruka and Mizuki, who were now fighting viciously across the clearing. Yes. It doesn't seem that the Kyuubi has the ability to speak with you as I do. I wouldn't expect him in the near future. So, boy, what are you planning to do about this? It seems that the one who hates you is winning. Blinking, Naruto drug himself out of his stupor to see Iruka-sensei get knocked into the base of a tree with a grunt of pain. Iruka-sensei! Get away from Iruka-sensei, you bastard! Mizuki paused in his next strike, shuriken still spinning. Oh, and what are you going to do about it, Fox? Naruto shook furiously, fists clenched, ready to go over there and just pummel the traitorous bastard into the ground. Hey! You seem to be forgetting something? Naruto blinked, wondering how the sword was speaking to him, even though he wasn't holding the blade right then. Fight first, explanations later. Feeling sheepish, Naruto turned and marched to blade laying on the ground. Both Chunin stared curiously as he walked to something, bending over to pick it up. And Naruto, where did you get that sword? Naruto smiled weakly. I'll explain later, Iruka-sensei. First I got a deal with Mizuki. Using both hands, Naruto lifted Black Mirage, noting that it was still pretty heavy. Alright, jerk, you're going down. Mizuki snorted. We'll see about that demon brat. Die. With that, Mizuki hauled back to throw. Run, Naruto. Grab what you can of the scroll and run. Time to have fun. Let's see him find you in a mirror image. Milliseconds before the throw, the air around Naruto shimmered and 9 flawless copies of Naruto appeared, each quickly jumping apart from each other, including the original, acting on a strongly worded suggestion from Black Mirage. The Chunins gaped. No, only was Naruto not supposed to be able to perform the Bunshin technique, the images were too far apart for the technique. They should have faded. Growing angry, Mizuki threw the shuriken anyways, aiming for the Naruto he thought was the real one. Buzzing, the weapon flew straight and true through the Naruto, who promptly disappeared into short-lived motes of light. Damn you, demon! I'll find you sooner or later, and you'll die all the same. I don't think so, Mizuki. The stroke was clumsy and poorly aimed, but the black mirage was a very sharp sword and Naruto was strong for a 13-year-old. With a scream of pain, Mizuki went down in a spray of blood. Trying not to stare too hard, Iruka hobbled over to his student, clapping a hand on his shoulder. Congratulations, Naruto. You stopped a traitor from stealing the scroll of sealing and captured him in the process. A sly smile snaked across Iruka's face. Was that a Bunshin technique I saw? Naruto flushed in embarrassment, one hand scratching behind his head, the other leaning black mirage against his shoulder. No, not really. It's called mirror image. It works a lot like Bunshin, I think, but it's not the same thing. Naruto sighed sadly. I guess this means another year at the academy. At least you'll have time to teach me how to use Black Mirage, right, sensei? Iruka's smile turned mysterious. Not quite, Naruto. Moving quickly before the comments sank in too deep, Iruka removed his own headband and tied it around Naruto's head, putting the removed goggles into one of Naruto's pockets. Congratulations on graduating, Naruto. I know you'll make me proud. It might have been a bit girly for a newly minted genin, but Naruto had always been one to buck tradition. Crying in relief and joy, Naruto hugged his now former teacher until the man complained that he couldn't feel his legs anymore. Being ushered into the Hokage's office not a half an hour later, Naruto wondered how the old man always seemed to know where to send his A and B whenever the blonde got into trouble. As the door opened, Naruto decided that this mess rated him using a trick that he'd overheard Ino tell Sakura about once. Stepping past the A and B guards, Naruto flashed his brightest smile and opened his eyes to their widest. Hi, old man. Sarutobi frowned ever so slightly. I had a daughter of my own once, Naruto. Nice try. Gesturing to a chair set in front of his desk, Sarutobi said. Sit down, Naruto, we need to talk. And for future reference, looking adorable to get out of trouble only works for young ladies. Grumbling, Naruto did as he was bid, leaning an unusual sword against himself. The third Hokage eyed it curiously, having never seen anything quite like it in his lifetime. Despite its decorations, it was a very functional weapon and the ANB would have normally confiscated it had not the Hokage already told them to let it pass. His curiosity and faith in Naruto's loyalty easily silencing his paranoia. Slowly, the aged professor packed himself a pipe. Tell me, Naruto, do you know why you are here? Naruto flinched. I stole the sacred scroll of sealing. Sarutobi nodded. Rather adroitly, my boy. Had this been a sanctioned exercise, you would have scored very well. Seeing the boy start to smile, the Hokage cleared his throat, catching his attention. However, this was not an exercise, but a very real crime. Luckily, Mizuki was rather lacking in self-control when he was detained and admitted to far more than he should have. It's clear to me that you were deceived by a very conniving traitor who had fooled ninja far more experienced than yourself. Therefore, you are clear of any charges. In addition, Iruka has informed me that you finally managed to perform the Bushin technique. In light of this, I'm allowing your battlefield promotion to stand. Seeing the boy cheer and dance in his seat, Sarutobi smiled happily. The Hokage knew Naruto's dreams well, and had been saddened each time he failed to graduate. Still, perhaps those failures were blessings in disguise, allowing the socially starved boy to be grouped with his age peers. Letting Naruto vent his euphoria, the third waved for the boy to be still. Now that you are a ninja, Naruto, why don't we have your first debriefing and you can tell me what happened out there? Listening patiently, holding his questions, Sarutobi took Naruto's rather well-told story with gentle draws on his now-lit pipe. Wincing as he heard about the damage to the scroll and again at the meeting of the three minds, Sarutobi's thoughts whirled, wondering what sort of questions Naruto would have for him. He was not long in waiting. Old man, they were telling the truth, right? That I'm not the Kyuubi? Sarutobi nodded. They weren't lying, Naruto. You are not, and never will be the Kyuubi. You are the warden of his prison, and I have complete faith that you will always be able to keep him contained. Plowing on as Naruto smiled again, the Hokage waved. Any other questions? Just one, old man. Do you know anyone who can teach me to use a sword? Sarutobi nodded, gesturing with his pipe. There are quite a few ninja in Konoha who could tutor you in kenjutsu. Tell me, Naruto, you said that the sword came out of something that looked like a seal, that it could talk to you. Naruto nodded quickly. Yeah. I haven't seen him do much, but with a name like his, I bet it has awesome powers. Sarutobi eyed the blade. Naruto, do you think I could speak with him? The blonde blinked. I could ask. Twisting in his chair, Naruto grabbed the sword's handle. His expression growing dim, Naruto was perfectly still and silent for a couple of minutes before his face brightened back up. He says no, that he only talks to his wielder. He wouldn't say why, something about standards and practices. The third's eyebrows hiked up, but he continued on. That's alright then. Naruto, do you think your sword? The Black Mirage Blade. Naruto supplied helpfully. Black Mirage Blade could explain his abilities? I will need a personal record so that I can properly gauge what missions you will be able to undertake. Naruto fell quiet again, the silence lasting longer this time. When he finally started talking, it was a little slow, obviously thinking about it. I don't understand a lot of what was talking about cause he's using all these weird terms. He said something about being a focusing device. That he makes it super easy for his wielder to create illusions, so easy you can keep swinging him and create illusionary constructs at the same time. He did say that he worked best in lower light conditions because it's harder to pick apart flaws in the construct. Naruto's head tilted for a moment. Ooh. He also said that I can channel chakra through him. That's good, right? Sarutobi chuckled. That's actually a very impressive set of abilities, Naruto. There are a great many ninja in this world who'd pay an arm and a leg for a weapon half so powerful. Sarutobi actually thought that most ninja would actually pay with someone else's arm and leg, but the elderly leader didn't want to say it quite like that to a boy he thought of as his grandson. A thought occurred to him. Naruto, the Black Mirage Blade wouldn't happen to possess some sort of self-defense technique, would it? Let me ask, old man. This time, after he was finished speaking with sword, Naruto grew paler. Yeah, old man. Even with his well-trained ears, Sarutobi could barely hear the boy's horrified whispers. Everyone he's ever considered unworthy of wielding him has died screaming in agony, begging for mercy. He also said that I should be very proud. I'm one of less than 10 people who has ever picked him up and lived. The Hokage flinched noticeably. Being told something like that could have only been terrifying, and the wily ninja doubted he could say or do anything to discourage the sword from saying things like that in the future. Yes, well, you should be proud. I know that I'm proud of you. Why don't you head home, Naruto? You've had a rather long day, and tomorrow is team assignments. You want to be well rested for the start of your career, don't you? Getting a shaky nod from the boy, the third gestured subtly for one of the ANBU to escort Naruto home. Another gesture assured his privacy. Sighing, the world-weary leader packed himself another pipe. He had a great deal to think about tonight, about Naruto's new gift and how to impress on various interested parties that the sword would be staying with Naruto until proven dangerous. He could think of no one better suited to keeping an eye on the potentially dangerous sentient sword than an ex-captain of the ANBU. Barely noticing his escort parting at the door to his apartment, Naruto marched inside, preparing for bed on autopilot. Eventually, dressed in full pajamas and his much-loved sleeping cap, Naruto staggered to his bed, drained from the stress and shock of the day. Black Mirage remained silent, not bothering to protest being left in the living and so far from hand. In the future, the intelligent weapon planned to speak up about being left behind, but his newest wielder was a child, and allowances had to be made. Probably anyways. Black Mirage had never really dealt with children outside some very dark circumstances and was left to deal with the situation as it unfolded. That was fine, the blade thought to itself, before activating one of several powers it had yet to reveal to its newest wielder. Transforming into a prismatic colored mote of light, Black Mirage drifted into the bedroom and promptly sank into Naruto's chest, causing the colorless pattern embedded on the boy's chest to regain all the shades of brilliance it had had before being moved from the scroll to its new residence. Dream, wielder, and show me what you really desire. Reveal your true nature to me. Like a great many people in the world, Naruto had an awareness of his surroundings on par with a zombie when he first woke up. He shuffled through his morning routine from here to there, getting it all done without really thinking about anything at all. It wasn't till the blonde started to get dressed that his brain kicked into gear, courtesy of an annoyed sentient blade. What do you think you are doing? Naruto froze, his sleepy mind not recognizing the voice or the fact it was coming from inside his head. Getting dressed. Must you wear such a color? Did you know that brighter shades of orange cause heightened aggression in humans who view it? Wear black or gray instead. They're more intimidating, and because they absorb light it's easier for them to alter perceptions. Naruto twitched, finally recognizing Black Mirage's mental voice. I like orange. You're just trying to getting me to stop wearing such a cool color like everyone else by making up that stuff about it pissing people off. The sword scoffed. I'm a very old sword who has power over light. Color as humans perceive it is viewed through the reflection of light. I've been experimenting with, and using my powers longer than the recorded history taught at your academy. Did you really think I wouldn't know everything I could about my domain? Naruto didn't like the sword's smug tone at the end of his comment, and decided poke holes in the story. Oh yeah, how would you know what's taught at the academy? You've been sealed up. The sword sighed. I told you I could read your mind yesterday, boy. When a person dreams, their mind is relaxed and far more open to outside influences. I watched your entire lifespan last night as you slept. Quite frankly, I'm both amazed and incredibly disappointed with you, Wielder. It seems that you cannot see the trees in the forest most of the time unless those trees happen to be on fire. Hey! Naruto protested. I can see just fine. You see but do not perceive, Wielder. You must learn to see everything and understand even more if you are ever to use my powers to their fullest extent. Naruto felt of a flicker of emotion from the blade, but he was way too new at this sort of thing to understand what it was. What kind of Hokage will you be if you always require your underlings to explain everything to you? Naruto's mouth opened and closed as the age-old weapon managed to get his point to the blonde without beating him over the head with it first. A startling first. The freshly graduate genin stood in front of his closet silently, turning over what the sword had said in his thoughts. Black Mirage waited patiently, having decided to speak with his currently wielder, as he had his very first. Small words, patiently leading sentences, and jabbing him every now and then to make sure he hadn't drifted off. So, are you going to take my suggestions? If you must wear bright colors, at least use white. It reflects every color, and gives me a broad palette to work with. Naruto shook his head, putting aside the sword's wisdom for later thought. Does orange really make people mad at me? Not necessarily you, but they are meaner as a whole. Why? Naruto eyed his favorite set of clothes sadly. Maybe I should wear something else. I mean, if I'm going to be Hokage, people are going to have to trust me. I can't be trusted if they're always pissed off when they see me or are afraid of me, so no black either. Naruto shuddered slightly. Sasuke always wears black and blue, and I don't want to be like him. Fair enough. No wielder of mine should ever be confused with someone else unless we're attempting to do just that. You like bright colors, right? Naruto nodded. I hate being ignored, and no one ignores someone who's dressed up bright. The sword hummed in thought. Nigel was like that. He did everything with flair. Despite his addiction to dreamweed, he was surprisingly good at distracting people and stabbing them when they were too confused to understand what was going on. Anyways, empty out your closets and drawers, I have an idea. Doing as he was told and listening to Black Mirage describe what he had in mind, Naruto grinned. It seemed like he'd still be pulling pranks despite being busy as a ninja. The face of the camera guy for his ninja ID when Naruto walked in for his picture appointment was priceless. The heavyset older man had been so stunned that he didn't even protest the strange pose. Walking away from the administrative building laughing was doing Naruto wonders. After putting together his new ensemble this morning, he'd almost made it out the door before realizing that he had no clue where his new sword was. Black Mirage had had a good long laugh at his expense before taking pity on the frazzled blonde and explaining the storage rune that now adorned the genin's chest. Now a lost art, the rune acted a lot like the storage scrolls that ninjas used, but with a different mechanic. Runes could hold more, the sword explained, but the more you put into one, the energy required to store it all would increase exponentially. A rune could hold an entire castle, but doing so would use so much power that not even a god would do so without a very good reason. Naruto had been excited about creating more of the runes as a sort of signature, but Black Mirage quickly shot that down, explaining that it couldn't teach him how, and even back when he'd been first made they were very rare. Still, Naruto thought as he walked into the Hokage's office, it was pretty cool to have a hiding place for his sword that no one else in the world knew how to use. Hey old man, you wanted to see me? The Hokage raised his head to greet the boy but couldn't get a word out the moment he saw what the blonde was wearing. Struggling to keep a straight face, Naruto sat in his regular chair for visits to the old man. You look terrible, old man. Something wrong? Sarutobi snapped out of it. Naruto-kun, what are you wearing? Naruto's new ninja uniform was bizarre even for Naruto. The only normal-looking parts of the outfit were the dark tan cargo pants reinforced for combat level wear and tear, and the goggles Naruto had been wearing since starting the academy. The latter had been left to drape around Naruto's neck since his forehead protector, and its bandana now covered his forehead and most his hair. It was a smart, if strange move from Naruto, who normally left his spiked hair free. The Hokage barely noticed the head covering though, unable to tear his eyes away from the bandages that wrapped around the boy's legs and arms. The bandages themselves were common enough, the tough linen wraps that many ninja used, covering most of each limb though the joints were all bare to avoid pinching and bunching. Woven into the bandages, however, were dozens of strings and ribbons, all in the most random patterns imaginable. As the elderly man's brain started to come back online, he noted that despite all the different kinds of decorations, each and every one of them was either red, yellow, or blue. Naruto's torso was mostly covered by what looked to be a very old black leather jacket that had been cut into a vest. The time-faded leather was faded into gray at places, though these patchy areas were mostly covered by Leaf Village insignias and the swirl that was Naruto's personal symbol. Sarutobi might have eventually passed all of this off as a prank by Naruto, to try and lift spirits are the stress of last night if not for one thing. The boy's open leather jacket turned vest revealed his chest and stomach, both of which were tattooed. Naruto, what is that on your chest? More importantly, why is the seal visible? Naruto shrugged. I don't know why the seal is visible, but it's been that way since I woke up this morning. The web thing on my chest is where Black Mirage hides when I'm not using him. Naruto's head tilted to the side, eyes blanking out for a second. Oh. Black Mirage says that it showed up when he attached himself to my chakra network. It looks awesome though, right? Sarutobi sighed. I'm not sure that advertising the seal is such a wise idea, Naruto. A bit of pain flashed across Naruto's eyes. I don't think it matters, old man. Anyone who could figure out what the seal does already knows about the fox. Besides, I need to be able to reach the rune to summon Black Mirage. Sarutobi blinked. Rune? Naruto brightened back up, nodding. Yeah. Black Mirage says it works like a summoning scroll, but I don't need blood. The third nodded. Given the sword's size, simply carrying it wasn't practical. Naruto having a summoning seal embedded in his skin was unusual, but not unheard of. Wait. Summoning Naruto? Yeah, it summons Black Mirage from wherever it is. He says that more than one of his previous wielders escaped prison that way. Sarutobi smiled at Naruto's excited look and gestured for the blonde to continue the story. Listening to the young boy babble on about a daring escape from prison in Posse, the village leader decided that he'd leave the seal's open display alone for now. It wasn't in Naruto's nature to blend in with the crowd. Obviously, the boy felt that he needed to confront the citizens of Konoha about their issues about the Kyuubi and Naruto himself. Though the third did wonder about the string. This time, I've got you, old man. Both ninja turned to the door at the shout. Charging towards the desk with a training shuriken in hand was a small boy wearing an odd hat and scarf that was too long for him. Letting out a warbling war cry, the boy drew back to throw the shuriken and promptly tripped, landing face down on the floor. Hissing in pain, the boy sat up rubbing his scrapes. Naruto started laughing hysterically, clutching his stomach. Sarutobi hid his chuckles, not wanting to hurt Konohamaru's feelings. Was that a trap? Who tripped me? Seeing the older boy in front of him laughing, the scarf-clad boy jumped to his feet, pointing at the blonde. You! Why'd you trip me? Naruto stopped laughing instantly. He hated being blamed for things he didn't do. People had blamed him for things when he was younger, occasionally even things he couldn't have done. Getting older, he silenced all this by pranking outrageously until all they talked about were what tricks he'd played. After learning about the fox last night, he now knew that those people had accused him just so they could have an excuse to yell at him. Nothing had ever come of these accusations. Sarutobi personally looked over all such claims, but people kept making them. Hearing such a thing come from a boy younger than himself was infuriating. Standing, Naruto stomped over to the boy and lifted him up by his shirt. You! What are you doing to the Hokage's honorable grandson? Looking over and up, Naruto spotted a tall and lanky man, wearing a jounin outfit without the flak jacket and a pair of sunglasses. Raising an eyebrow at the jounin, Naruto turned to the boy. He was still being held up. Konohamaru smirked at the blonde, positive that Naruto was like everyone else the boy had ever met and would now promptly let him go and kiss his ass. What do you think you are doing, brat? Leave the honorable grandson alone. Like I give a damn who he's related to. Fisting his free hand, Naruto brought it down on the boy's head hard enough to leave a small mark. Letting the boy drop to the floor, Naruto shoved his hands in his pockets and walked away. We'll talk later, old man. See ya. Ebisu snorted, turning to his student and closing his eyes in an attempt to look wiser. Do not concern yourself with trash like that, boy, honorable grandson. Such people only exist to cause trouble and soon destroy themselves. All you can do is to distance yourself from them so you don't get involved when they go. Ebisu nodded to his own wisdom. What an interesting way of describing a boy I know and trust very well, Ebisu. However, my grandson is not here. Paling, Ebisu stared in fear at the Hokage, not sure if he should be more afraid of the fact that he lost the man's grandson, or that he just insulted the Hokage's ward in his presence. I'd suggest you move quickly, Ebisu. My grandson did leave right after Naruto after all. The jounin raced out the door, trying to ignore the eyes boring into his back. Naruto strode down the street, heading towards the academy for team assignments. Despite the increased colorfulness of his outfit, he was actually getting less ugly looks from the nearby adults. It seemed that losing the orange jumpsuit like Black Mirage had suggested was working. He didn't suspect at all that the reason he wasn't getting as many looks was because nobody was recognizing him because of a lack of orange. A few blocks away from the academy, Naruto noticed something suspicious following him. Stepping onto an empty street, Naruto was hoping that he would be able to spot whatever it was that had pinged his 6th danger sense. It turned that the suspicious object was the boy from the old man's office. Seeing the boy trying hiding as part of the street and forgetting to include his feet, Naruto decided that he just didn't have the time for this and just kept walking. Konohamaru continued to close in on his unsuspecting prey. Dashing the last few meters, Konohamaru readied himself for the "What do you want, Konohamaru?" The boy stood stunned for a moment, but quickly snapped out of it when he realized that Naruto wasn't stopping. "Wait up, boss. Tell me how you knew it was me." Naruto chuckled. "I'm just awesome like that. Why are you calling me boss anyways?" "Why wouldn't I? You're the bravest ninja in the village. You're Naruto Uzumaki, right? I heard about you from Grandpa and my uncle this morning. I want you to teach me to be like you so I can take the Hokage title from Grandpa." Naruto wasn't the sort of person to begrudge others their dreams, but he was curious. "Why do you want to take his title away?" Konohamaru sighed, falling in step with Naruto as the academy loomed closer. "Everyone sees me as the Hokage's grandson, they don't even use my name, just honorable grandson like my teacher, Ebisu. I figure if I can take Grandpa's title then everyone will see me, not him." Konohamaru looked up at Naruto, eyes blazing with determination. "That's why I want you to teach me. A guy who can break into Grandpa's tower and knock him out with a single technique is sure to make me powerful enough to take on Grandpa in no time." Naruto was thinking about teaching Konohamaru the Oiroke no Jutsu for shits and giggles when he heard Black Mirage mutter, "If power alone made a leader, then I'd rule this place. Leaders are cunning and wise, or at least possessing enough common sense to fake the latter." Schooling his expression to something resembling somber, Naruto turned to Konohamaru. "I can't teach you to take down the old man." Konohamaru stumbled in surprise. But why not? I promise I'll listen to you do and what you say." Repeating something the third had once done for him when he was young and painfully lonely, Naruto ruffled what hair stood out of Konohamaru's strange hat. "To be honest, I only beat the old man cause I did something so crazy and stupid that he would have never expected it in a million years. The old man is the best ninja in the village, and if you want to beat him for real, to show everyone that you deserve to be the Hokage, then you are going to have to make a decision." "What decision?" Konohamaru asked quietly, awed by Naruto's words. Naruto stopped, the two boys just outside the academy gates. "What are you willing to give? Being a Hokage is not just about being badass, even though it helps. A Hokage, a true Hokage, gives everything to their village. Their time, their love, even their lives." Naruto paused, thinking of the friends and family the fourth had no doubt left behind to seal away the fox. Being the Hokage is the greatest of honors, and it requires the greatest of sacrifices. Naruto clutched the seal on his belly as Black Mirage sent a sensation of reassurance. The best the sword could do. Konohamaru was silent for several minutes, obviously thinking about what the older had said. "Thank you, boss. A lot of what Grandpa says makes more sense now. I think, when I become Hokage, when I'm ready to be just like Grandpa, that I'll tell everyone what you told me." Naruto laughed, feeling a great deal of joy knowing that he'd stoked Konohamaru's will of fire, as the Hokage had always been there to do for him. "Well then, Konohamaru, I'll be sure to keep the hat warm for you." Winking, Naruto turned and walked through the gates, leaving Konohamaru to sputter and protest loudly that he'd be the fifth Hokage and not the other way around. A short ways up the street, Ebisu leaned against the store wall, his expression contemplative. "I suppose, of all the village, it would be the Jinchuriki who understands what it means to give one's all for the good of others." Ebisu's gaze lifted to take in the academy. "I'll never like someone like you, brat, but I think that one day I might respect you, just a little." Shoving off the wall, Ebisu went to collect his wayward student for taijutsu practice. Stepping into his academy classroom for what was probably the last time, a fond smile slipped over Naruto's face. He'd almost missed this place now that he was a ninja. "Get a seat in the back. I want to see all your classmates. Studying people through another's memories is too inaccurate. Why do you need to study them anyways? I wouldn't suggest talking out loud. Humans always seem to try and kill my wielder when they do that." Naruto rolled his eyes. How else was he supposed to talk to this rod? "Project your thoughts to me, smartass. There is a bond between us, if an easily broken one." Naruto frowned, fidgeting in his seat. If he could speak to the sword silently, why hadn't told him so? So far all he'd been able to do is listen as it told him what to say. "You have been, even if you don't realize it. You just don't do it well or often. I would have already taken you through this, but I didn't want to drown you in information." That, and the sword was pretty sure that the easily distracted blonde had already forgotten some of what the sword had told him. A faint rumbling sound caught everyone's attention, and the whole class turned to the door. With a bang, it flew open and Sakura and Ino shoved through the doorway together. First. As Naruto sighed dreamily and stared at Sakura, Black Mirage began cringing in pain. As a sword empowered towards the visual realms, he didn't much like loud noises. Naruto, he put up with because the kid had some serious potential and a real drive to harness it, but these two shrieking girls and the equally offensive kunoichi that were joining them were all straining his tolerance. As the sound built and built to the point where Iruka's entrance was completely missed, and even Naruto was covering his ears, Black Mirage decided that he'd had enough. Shut the fucking hell up, you miserable little cunts. If I hear one more sound out of any of you, I'm going to gut you all. Dead silence fell on the room as everyone turned to the back and stared at Naruto, who they didn't recognize at first. Regaining control of his body, Naruto's mind went completely blank as he struggled to find a reaction to not only losing control of his mouth, but being stared at by the entire class for threatening them. Luckily, Iruka stepped into the silence with a cough. While that was a little extreme, thank you, Naruto. Gasps abounded. That's Naruto! Sakura yelled, having never dreamed that Naruto of all people would threaten bodily harm to the entire class, much less the girls. It's him. Now everyone take your seats. Watching his students file to the closest seats, Iruka sighed. The mood in the room was now totally wrong for his usual end-of-the-year speech. He liked that speech, damn it. Sensei, why are you covered in bandages and what happened to Naruto? Iruka sighed again and pinched his nose. I was involved in a fight last night, which is why I'm hurt, but I have no idea what you're asking about Naruto. He yelled at us. Sakura shouted, not used to the blonde raising his voice to her at all. His clothes. Ino chimed in, incredibly curious about why Naruto was wearing that weird mess of strings. In the Hokage's office, the village leader and all the gathered jounin in his office to watch the new students via crystal ball perked up, rather curious themselves. Iruka shrugged. Naruto, care to explain to your classmates the sudden change of clothes? Naruto blinked. It's for a technique I know. It's the first of a school of techniques, so I changed my gear to make them easier. It'll change again when I get better at them, but this is what I'm going with for the start of my ninja career. Most of the class seemed interested in what kind of technique would require that kind of coloring, but one student saw an opportunity. Yeah, right, Naruto. Even if you learn some freaky technique, it's probably just something stupid like that naked transformation you're always doing. I'd bet Sasuke-kun could come up with a much cooler technique on his own, right, Sasuke-kun? As Sakura's voice rose to croon Sasuke's name, Black Mirage snarled. That pink-haired bitch has the single most annoying voice I've ever heard. She must suffer. Scowling, Naruto crossed his arms. Thinking Sakura's comment had sent into a sulk, the rest of the class turned around and Iruka started handing out team assignments. Sakura is nicest, prettiest girl in the class. I really like her. Name one nice thing she's ever done for you. Naruto tried to snap off a few examples of Sakura's greatness and gentleness, but he found himself unable to think of one. Name one thing physically that sets her apart from the rest of these girls. Her hair. He shot back. That girl with the white eyes has blue hair, and on the way here I spotted a woman with purple hair through your eyes. Try again. Well, I like her and that's too bad. Black Mirage snorted in amusement. What a way to win an argument. By the way your name was called. You're on a team with the pink harpy and that Sasuke child you dislike. Before Naruto could ask what a harpy was, Iruka spoke up. I just wanted to say, before I go, that I will miss you all. I know that you all will make me proud as true ninja. Goodbye, everyone. Sliding open the door, he left, letting in a group of jounin who spread out and started calling out team numbers. Hours later, Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto were sitting in the classroom waiting for their new sensei to arrive. Sasuke was bored, but dealing with it. Sakura was a hair away from snapping and attacking the first person to irritate her. Naruto would have been even worse than her had not Black Mirage spent the last few hours discussing what he could and could not do. The sword was reasonably certain he'd gotten through to the boy. Clack. All three genin turned to door. Standing in the doorway was a tall, masked jounin. Silver hair jutted up like broom bristles and his left eye was covered by forehead protector, leaving only a thin band of his face visible. Sweeping his eye over the kids, the man gave a tinny nod. Team 7, follow me. Standing, the genin obediently followed him outside to a small park. Waving his hand, their sensei had them sit in front of him, while he sat on a railing. All right. Let's introduce ourselves. Maybe a little self-description. Why don't you go first? Naruto challenged, not liking the man's attitude. I'm Kakashi Hatake. I'm an elite jounin. My likes and dislikes are personal. I have a dream, but you're all a little young to hear it. Who wants to go next? I will, sensei. Sakura wasn't thrilled with such a poor introduction, but she wasn't going to make a bad first impression. That was Naruto's job. My name is Sakura Haruno, a genin of Konoha. I was the best kunoichi of class, so I'm sure I will do well in your care, sensei. I like a certain person and my dream is to. Glancing at Sasuke, Sakura squealed, drawing winces from Kakashi whose hearing was well above human average and Naruto who was forced to deal with a very angry Black Mirage. As for my dislikes, Naruto and Ino. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, but just pointed at Sasuke. Sasuke Uchiha? I don't have many likes, and there are many annoying things I hate. Sakura completely missed the look Sasuke sent her way. My only ambition is to kill a certain man. Kakashi didn't react, having already read the team's profile. Mr. Rainbow, you're up. Naruto Uzumaki here, future Hokage. I love ramen, training, Naruto started to say Sakura, but an angry buzz from his sword made him rethink it. And my new blade and techniques. I hate waiting for my ramen to cook and jerks who can't get their heads out of their asses. My dreams and ambitions are the same thing, to be a truly legendary Hokage. Interesting. His profile didn't mention him being a Kenjutsu practitioner. That sword that Hokage-sama mentioned must have been acquired very recently. Well, now that that's out of the way, I have a few things to say. Tomorrow, there will a test. A finale test that will decide if you remain genin or receive remedial training. Remedial training? What kind of test is it? A survival test, with a mere 33% chance of passing. All three genin stared in shock. Meet at Training Ground 7, tomorrow at 7 a.m. Oh. One last thing. You probably shouldn't eat tomorrow morning, you might throw up. That said, Kakashi vanished in a swirl of leaves. Sensing opportunity, Naruto turned to Sakura. Want to get lunch, Sakura? We could talk about tomorrow's test and try and make a plan. Ignoring him completely, Sakura raced after Sasuke, who was trying to make a clean escape. Sasuke-kun, let's have lunch. And you adore this girl, why? Trying to hide his disappointment from the sword, Naruto headed to one of his favorite practice areas. If they were going to have such an important test tomorrow, then he was definitely going to need to practice. 10 in the morning found Team 7 still standing around, waiting for their sensei to arrive. Sasuke and Sakura had gone past bored and into angry, though only Sakura was showing any sign of it. Naruto was once again distracted by talking with Black Mirage. This was no coincidence. The sword had noted the boy's short attention span and had been working with it. Every time Naruto started getting twitchy, Black Mirage would mention a trick or technique he'd seen at one point or another in his centuries-long existence. A lot of what he talked about was either not in Naruto's skill range or flat out impossible for the boy, but brainstorming about ways of pulling them off worked marvelously at keeping him busy. Yo! You're late! Char's teat bitch, stop screaming. Kakashi blinked in surprise at that exchange, wondering why Naruto's profile said he was infatuated with the pink-haired girl. Sasuke simply enjoyed the silence of Naruto's embarrassment, and Sakura's hurt at being yelled at by a boy who'd admired her forever. Inner Sakura was not a happy camper with this new development, and was gearing up to unleash hell on Naruto when Kakashi saved his life. Ahem. If you all are done, there is a test to be taken. Walking up to a stump on the training ground whose top had been smoothed for use as a table or seat, Kakashi put down a wind-up clock and a pair of packed lunches. Alright, the test is simple. In order to pass, you must have one of these bells. Removing a pair of plain bells from a pocket with a small flourish, Kakashi then attached them to his belt. But sensei, Sakura murmured. There are only 2 bells. Shouldn't there be 3? No, there shouldn't. Now you have until noon. If you want to pass, you should come at me with all your strength and killing intent. Naruto raised his hand. Are you sure, sensei? Wouldn't that be dangerous to you? Kakashi's smile was visible through the mask. I wouldn't be much of a jounin if I couldn't take on a few genin and avoid getting hurt. The test starts now. Sasuke and Sakura figures blurred as they dashed to the edge of the clearing to conceal themselves. Naruto, on the hand, didn't move. Kakashi raised an eyebrow inquisitively. You want something, Naruto? You sure you want us to hit you with everything? Very sure, Naruto. Though I am beginning to wonder if you're just stalling for some reason. Okay, if you say so. Reassured that he wasn't going to get in trouble for this, Naruto stunned his audience. He reached into his chest, his hand disappearing up to his wrist. Kakashi stared. What the hell, Hokage-sama seems to have not mentioned a few things. You said to use everything I had, Kakashi-sensei, so I guess you get to meet Black Mirage. Kakashi watched intently as Naruto drew a black-bladed sword nearly as long as the boy was tall out of his chest. The jounin also noted the pattern on the boy's chest fading into invisibility as the blade cleared it. Smiling, Naruto took up a two-handed grip, setting the sword in a clumsy defensive posture. I take it that sword is called Black Mirage? Naruto smiled. Yep. This is our first trick, mirror image. Without a sound, puff of smoke, and only the slightest surge of chakra, 9 copies of Naruto appeared. A bunshin, that doesn't seem very impressive. It gets better. Naruto shot back as the 10 Naruto split up and surrounded Kakashi. Swiveling his head, Kakashi noted that several of the copies were outside the range any genin sound have been able to manage. Enhanced bunshin. But still, just bunshin. Naruto grinned, followed shortly by all the Bushin charging with him. As they closed in and Kakashi readied himself for combat, Naruto managed to surprise the Jonin. Blur. It was something like a watercolor painting getting hit by a bucket of water. All the colors in Naruto's clothes began swirling and mixing with each other, blending into the ground and surroundings as well. The technique had a secondary effect. Naruto was casting shadows. Every time he moved so much as an inch, his outline became wildly broken up, leaving only his center mass as the only thing even reasonably visible. Even then, real accuracy was all but impossible. It was, Kakashi noted, a very effective genjutsu, made all the more potent by the fact that it was done seamless at the last second. Channeling chakra, Kakashi leapt up and back, coming away from the rush with just a swallow cut thanks to Naruto's lack of skill with the blade. That, Kakashi noted, is a very, very dangerous trick. Thanks, sensei. The Narutos approached, the blurring effect getting worse when they stood next to each other. Just remember, you asked for my best. With that, Naruto rushed in again. Focusing on sound more than sight this time, Kakashi easily avoided getting hit again. It was harder than any genin should have made it, which Kakashi attributed to Naruto's ruthless attempts to take advantage of the blur technique. Still, I can keep this up longer than he can. And if he hasn't made more copies by now, then I doubt he could. All I've got to do is pin down his next move and… Thunk 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 thunk. Naruto hesitated, watching a swarm of kunai hit his teacher in some rather lethal spots. A moment later Kakashi poofed and turned into a pin-cushioned log. The pause cost Naruto though, having held still long enough for most of the blurring to fade away. Pow! The blurring completely disappeared as Naruto tumbled through the air, his concentration shattered by the swift kick to his ass from Kakashi. After landing in the river, the mirror images vanished. Feeling a spurt of satisfaction, Kakashi raced to where he could see Sasuke dashing through the woods. The bottom of the class had an interesting trick, best to face the top of the class with a hint of caution. Sitting at the bottom of river, looking supremely pissed off, Naruto pondered his next move. He had about 10 minutes of air thanks to one of the tricks he'd heard about from Black Mirage. The sword was quietly impressed by the speed the boy had picked up the secret to this trick, and decided to toss the boy a bone. It's time to take the kid gloves off, wielder. Shall we try something mean? Let's. I didn't get to make this speech earlier, but there are 3 core principles to being a ninja. Taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu. Care to try one out? Sasuke spun around to see his new sensei watching him lazily. Naruto might have had a cheap trick, but I'm better than him. We'll see. Sasuke launched himself at Kakashi, starting a furious taijutsu assault. Kakashi instantly noted the difference in skill level between Naruto and Sasuke, with Sasuke being much higher. Still, it wasn't getting him a bell, and they both knew it. Jumping back, Sasuke started flipping through hand seals rapidly. Shit. Gakakyu no Jutsu. Sasuke watched calmly as the fireball sputtered out, expecting a royal pissed off but injured and weakened Jonin. But there was nothing. Where is he? The sides, above me, behind? Below. Shinjuzanshu no Jutsu, double suicide decapitation technique. A moment later, Sasuke was completely immobilized. Stepping out of the earth and brushing himself off, Kakashi eyed Sasuke. By technique you are better, but he uses what he has very well. Think about it. Now, to traumatize a fangirl of yours. Kakashi once again disappeared in a swirl of leaves. After arriving near Sakura, Kakashi had expected the pink-haired girl to put up a decent fight like both her teammates. She proved to be incredibly disappointing, fainting after a quick hell-viewing genjutsu, something her profile said she was inclined to. Deciding to play with Naruto some more before the timer went off, Kakashi headed to the river to pick up the boy's trail. What he found was Naruto floating face down in the river, partially weighed down by the sword still gripped in his hand. Oshidashito hitoshit. Hokage-sama is going to kill me for this. Diving into the river, Kakashi reached in to pull the boy and out to try mouth to mouth. When he tried to grab the boy's vest though, his hand went straight through. I just jumped into a river after my drowned genjutsu specialist Genin. Way to go, Kakashi. KR boom. An exploding note embedded on the riverbed and pumped with chakra to stall its soaking and destruction went off a few feet from Kakashi and launched the unsuspecting Jounin well into the clearing. Steaming, the silver-haired ninja made a mental note to avoid truly pissing off the blonde, at all, ever. Slightly concussed, the Jounin missed the ringing off the bells as they were taken off his belt, though he did see them float away. Kakashi was about to lunge for the Genin and take them back, while inflicting some well-deserved vengeance, when the timer finally went off. Sigh. Wait here, Naruto, I'm going to grab your teammates. Kakashi-sensei, why is Sakura-chan tied to the log? The restrained girl glared hatefully at her sensei. She failed to even make an attempt at the bells, unlike Sasuke who managed to brush against them. The fact that you actually got the bells just makes her look ridiculous. But what's the gag for? Sakura attempted to scream out support for the sentiment, but failed to get more than faint groaning. she yells, loudly and at pitches that make my head feel like an ice pick has been jammed through my temples. Naruto squirmed guiltily, having recently noticed that fact due to Black Mirage's rants on that damn harpy whore. Now, I'm afraid that Sasuke and Sakura haven't passed my test. However, since Naruto has, I will allow you two a second chance after lunch. But, for that dismal performance, Sakura is not allowed to eat anything. Later, Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. Taking a quick look around, Naruto ripped Sakura's gag out and held out a piece of his lunch. Eat up, Sakura-chan, you'll need your strength for the test. The pinkette would have protested getting food from Naruto of all people, but her stomach gurgled, demanding sustenance since she had skipped breakfast. Watching the two, Sasuke scoffed. Still, the blonde idiot had somehow managed to get the bells, so perhaps he wasn't completely useless, but his pink-haired fangirl was good for nothing but a distraction. Sasuke blinked. That was it. That was how he was going to get a bell, provided Kakashi could get Naruto to hand them back at some point. He was going to use Sakura as a distraction, then swoop in and snatch a bell the way Naruto had probably used those advanced bushin. Praying she didn't look too deep into it, Sasuke picked up a piece of his own lunch and held it out to Sakura, who blushed. If only the fangirl hadn't starved herself, this wouldn't be necessary. You've broken the rules. Scared shitless, Team 7 watched their sensei appear and glare at them with a highly effective dramatic background. Do you know what the punishment for breaking the rules is? The genin shook their heads. You three pass. Team 1, remedial training. Team 2, remedial training. Team 3, ditto. Team 4, psi training. Team 5, remedial training. Team 6, another bunch of remedials. Number 7 was skipped as it was not nearly late enough for Kakashi to be here. Team 8 passes. There were some soft murmurs given that the Jounin of 8 was a rookie, but no one said a word against her. Team 9 is still active from last year. Asuma? Team 10 passes dad. Whispers and nods abounded. Team 10 was the second Ino Shikacho team, and nobody had expected them to fail. Has anyone seen Kakashi yet? Why bother, Hokage-sama? Kakashi never passes anyone. Sorry I'm late. A blonde fox thought it would be funny to hit me with an exploding note. People turned to comment on Kakashi's idea of a joke but promptly shut up when they realized that he had a bandage wrapped around his head. Sarutobi puffed on his pipe, deciding to get the ball rolling despite having a good idea what happened anyway. An exploding note, you say? That's a rather serious accusation. Kakashi waved it away. It was during the test, so it was perfectly legal. Surprised the crap out of me though, and threw me over a river. Loud whispers and not-so-quiet murmurs filled the meeting room. Quiet. Getting his silence, the Hokage gestured for Kakashi to continue. Looks were exchanged as the XANBU described the fight that afternoon, glossing over nothing. In the silence that followed, Kurenai stepped forward. Hokage-sama, if Naruto was such a promising genjutsu master, why wasn't he placed on my team? The third smiled gently at the rookie Jounin. It's because he couldn't use genjutsu at all till he found that sword, the Black Mirage. From what Naruto has told me, it acts as a focusing lens, converting pure chakra in genjutsu based on Naruto's will. It is a very powerful sword, but incredibly picky about those who wield it. Naruto is one of less than a dozen people to have ever held it and survived. Kurenai winced, nebulous thoughts of trying her hand at the useful-sounding weapon dying quickly. I see. Still, Hokage-sama, perhaps it would be best I helped him with the basics. Kakashi muttered something quietly about the blonde being enough of a menace without them. That sounds like a good idea, Kurenai. The boy probably needs a review of all the basics considering where that traitor Mizuki worked. In fact, Team 7 stood in their usual spot, in their usual positions, as the genin waited for their Jounin instructor to arrive. It had been a week exactly since they had passed their sensei's test, and in that time they hadn't accomplished much. At least, not that each other knew of. So far, their team exercises had been developing and practicing group maneuvers and covering basic ninja commands and codes. They also spent a few hours each day performing D-rank mission, aka chores, and practicing their taijutsu. Kakashi had even taken the time to teach Naruto some basic sword exercises. Kakashi didn't teach him very many, given that the ANBU used a different style of weapons, but it was enough for Naruto to start with and build on. Even better, the silver-haired Jounin had taken him aside one day and had given him a scroll containing a technique for shadow ventriloquism, a rather common ninja technique for changing and throwing one's voice to avoid giving away an attacker's position. To be perfectly honest, the Jounin had not given Naruto the training or the scroll of his own volition. Team 7 Sensei had planned to force the genin to bond with each other, as teammates before teaching them anything except the basics, but Hokage-sama had been very clear that Naruto was to receive them. Apparently, the village leader felt that certain factions were going to attempt to separate Naruto from his sword. Kakashi didn't understand why anyone would bother given Black Mirage's vivid description of what he would do to anyone he didn't like, but the Jounin wasn't going to protest. Although the Jounin was rather curious as to whether or not the boy had learned shadow ventriloquism yet. It'd be oh so useful today. Yo! You're late! Sakura snarled back, eyeing her blonde teammate. The kunoichi had slowly learned that for some reason, Naruto now hated loud noises and yelling. She suspected it something to do with the blonde's strange sword, but neither she nor Sasuke had managed to learn much about the blade despite a great deal of inquiring into it. Sakura had even tried being sweet about asking, but the blonde just sort of stuttered for a second, then told her no. Anyways, the pinkette had learned to never raise her voice around Naruto unless she wanted to hear Naruto threaten her with some very stomach-turning activities. I got lost in bureaucracy. Team 7 blinked, but accepted it. It was better than his usual comments about the road of life. Today I have a surprise for my adorable little genin. We're going to have mini tourney. A what? A mini tourney. Hokage-sama feels that because of certain factors, the archived information about your personal skills may be skewed. Naruto nodded silently, perfectly aware of what the Jounin was referring to. So today, we're going to have you guys spar with your graduated classmates, and even some graduates from last year. So follow me. The walk through town to the appointed training ground for the mini tourney was uneventful. The villagers had managed to spread the fact that Naruto was no longer wearing his orange jumpsuit, but they had also spread the fact that glaring at the boy now had certain risks. Not every time, but now and then, someone would be glaring at the boy hatefully, and they would inexplicably become violently ill. So now, only the most hardcore fools would try to burn holes in the boy with their eyes, making walking through town much less stressful for Naruto. As they stepped onto training ground 16, Team 7 saw Teams 8 and 10 standing there with the Jounin instructors that they had seen on graduation day. There was another team of genin there, one whose members were unique. The instructor was a very tall and very ripped man with a bowl cut and oddly intense features. He was wearing a one-piece green bodysuit and leg warmers, covered over with a Jounin flak jacket and belt pouches. Bandages wrapped his hands and feet. Next to him was a near clone, minus the flak jacket. A male Hyuga with the clan's traditional features and garb stood aside from the two mirrors, accompanied by a brunette kunoichi wearing a pink Chinese-styled shirt, fitted trousers, and extra weapon pouches. Her hair was safely tucked out of the way in two buns on the top of her head. Moving up into a loose formation with other genin standing behind them, Kakashi raised a hand in greeting. Yo! One of the Jounin, a bearded man, waved back. Alright, now that Kakashi and his students are here, let's get this started. Stepping back so he could watch all the genin, the smoking Jounin continued. We want to see what you can all do, but don't kill each other. No lethal or crippling attacks, try not to poison the other genin, and the fight stops when any of the Jounin say so. The genin who do the best will spar with Guy's students. Any questions? Naruto raised his hand. Can we use exploding notes? Everyone stared at Naruto, including a slightly nervous Kakashi. How do you even have exploding notes? There's no way you can afford those on nothing but D ranks. Naruto grinned evilly. As it turns out, I'm really good at poker. Sakura glared. How's does an idiot with no self-control like you win at poker? Naruto shrugged. Naruto. Kakashi kept his voice casual. How many of those did you buy? No way. We're going to have a tournament. Why should I tell everyone how much ammo I've got? While I'm delighted to know that you're learning to think about the consequences of all your actions, the fact that you refer to exploding notes as ammo terrifies me to no end. Naruto looked at his sensei inquisitively. It was really hard to tell if he was joking or serious when he deadpanned most of the time. Anyways, you can use them but don't actually set them off. Just point out that you've got your opponent bombed and the Jounin will decide if it counts as a kill. Would anyone like to go first? Naruto barely heard Kiba eagerly jump at the chance to showcase his skills. The moment Asuma, the smoking Jounin, had stopped talking, Black Mirage spoke up. The Kyuubi asked me to relay an offer to you. If you can beat all your classmates, then he will teach you a Kitsune technique. If you beat the older genin, he'll teach you another Kitsune trick. Naruto blinked. Would he really teach me? Why would he even offer me something like that? Black Mirage radiated a sense of confusion. I haven't a clue, though he has been muttering something about subtly and illusions being proper Kitsune methods. I would suggest trying it. Even if the Kyuubi refuses to teach you, you need practice against living opponents. Simply weaving illusions over dummies only teaches so much. Naruto nodded physically. Okay, I might as well try. Did you want to fight Kiba, Naruto? Naruto looked up, surprised by the question. Huh? You nodded. You wanted to partner with Kiba for the first spar? Yeah, I will. Kiba grinned as Naruto walked into the center of clearing. Cracking his knuckles and waiting for everyone else to get to one side, Kiba decided to start things off with a little trash talking. With Naruto's short temper, a couple of insults would make the blonde too mad to use his greatest strength, sheer creativity. I don't know what you think you're going to do against me, Naruto. Even if you actually have those exploding notes you were bragging about, I'll be on you too quickly for you to set them up. Give up and spare yourself the beating. Anger darkened Naruto's complexion, but the blonde didn't take the bait. Instead, he pressed his right hand to his chest, covering what most of the ninja present agreed was a beautiful / cool tattoo. Just start this, and we'll see who takes a beating. Asuma stepped between them, hand raised. Ready, set, fight. Asuma leapt back as Kiba rushed in, trying to finish this quickly. At the same time, Naruto pushed his hand into his chest, grabbed something, and heaved. As the blonde's arm straightened out, Kiba's instincts went crazy. Obeying them, he stopped rushing in and jumped to the side. Moments later, the black sword Naruto had found and teamed up with about a week ago flew through the general area he would have been in had he not dodged. Kiba stared. Man, what the hell? Where'd that come from? Naruto grinned, adding his other hand to the grip and shifting the blade into a defendable position. Neat trick, huh? Black Mirage and I have a lot of them. This one made Sensei sweat. Blur. The crowd gasped. The genjutsu took effect. Grinning like a loon, Naruto attacked. Kiba fell back, not sure how to deal with the strange technique right away. After studying the shadows for a bit, Kiba decided the trick was go crazy and aim for the middle. Shikyaku no Jutsu, four-legged technique. Naruto stumbled, watching the wild-looking boy turn positively feral. This could be bad. Eat this. With the increase in speed, Kiba rushed in again. This time he was fast enough to completely dodge the sword, landing a heavy punch in Naruto's stomach. The smaller blonde went flying, landing flat on his back, sword still in hand. Heh. Even with a fancy sword, you're still not much of ninja, Naruto. Naruto growled in annoyance as he got back up, apparently unaffected by the punch. Alright Kiba, I was going to play nice, but that's it. I'll show you who's a ninja. Naruto reached into his belt pouch, drawing a kunai. Found this on the scroll of sacred sealing after I stole it. Naruto threw the kunai at the skeptical Kiba. Kage Shuriken Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Shuriken Clone Technique. A moment after the kunai left Naruto's hand, the single weapon turned into dozens. Yelping, Kiba dove for cover as the kunai rained over his side of the clearing. Strangely, all but the first kunai disappeared into swirls of smoke as they hit. Kiba stared for a moment, then growled. God damn it! It's just a stupid distraction technique. Pissed now, Kiba jumped out from behind his cover and charged at Naruto. Looking blank, Naruto grabbed and threw another kunai. When he called out the same technique, Kiba shifted his line of attack enough to avoid the first kunai and kept running. As the copied kunai would have passed by Kiba, the Inuzuka stopped dead as blood splattered from a sizable wound on his left shoulder. As everyone stared, there was a silent flash of light and Naruto disappeared as the real Naruto faded into sight, just a few feet forward, holding the black mirage outright at shoulder level. Naruto smiled sheepishly. It really is on the scroll, you know. Kage Shuriken Bunshin no Jutsu. I just didn't have the scroll long enough to learn it. Match. Asuma called, rushing forward. Medic. A moment later, a team of medic nin dropped from the trees and started treating Kiba. Naruto goggled. When they'd get here? Kurenai walked up, smiling in amusement. They were here before we started. You didn't think we'd put our students at risk without medics on hand, did you? Kurenai glanced at Kiba, quickly determining that it was a manageable wound. Her student taken care of for the moment, Kurenai decided she could now work on her personal interests. Naruto. What's the name of the genjutsu you used? Naruto looked uncomfortable. It doesn't have a name. I just make it work. Kurenai's eyes widened. Genjutsu through pure willpower was the kind of thing you only heard of coming from highly trained Uchiha. Really? That's impressive. Maybe you'd like to meet sometime and discuss genjutsu? I'm a genjutsu mistress myself, and I'd never forgive myself if I didn't encourage another genjutsu user. Silently asking Hinata for forgiveness, Kurenai put on a blinding smile and laid a hand on the boy's arm. I might even teach you a few special techniques. We'll talk to later about setting up a meeting, okay? Getting a quiet nod from the stunned-looking boy, Kurenai straightened up and walked back to her genin, feeling slightly dirty. Still, as long as she didn't actually do anything, it wasn't that bad. Flashing a few smiles and kind words wasn't wrong, especially if it got her answers about the sword. Alright. Kiba's going to be fine. Who wants to go next? Me. Everyone turned to Naruto. Asuma's eyebrow tried to crawl into his hairline. Naruto, you just went. Do you really want to go again? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I want to go until I drop. Asuma looked at the other jounin, but none of them protested. Despite the chattering he did, there wasn't really all that much actually known about Naruto. If he wanted to do this, They'd give him the chance and see just what he was after. I will fight Naruto. It should prove to be an interesting experience. Asuma nodded to Shino, who walked up into the appropriate starting position. Naruto got into an aggressive stance and readied for the starting wave. Ready, set, go. Naruto charged, sword ready for a swing. Shino, strangely, didn't move, even as Naruto cleaved right through his body. Naruto's mouth dropped in shock, and his grip on Black Mirage was slipping from the horror of killing one of his classmates when Shino's body dissolved into a large swarm of bugs that covered Naruto from head to toe. Ah! Get them off me! Get them off! Shino stepped out from behind a nearby tree as Naruto ran in a panicked frenzy. It is no use, once the destruction bugs are on you, you will not escape. Ah! Get them off me! Get them off! Shino adjusted his glasses as Naruto continued to run in the same pattern. I find myself disappointed with such an easy win after your tricks against Kiba. Ah! Get them off me! Get them off! Shino frowned slightly as his sensei sighed and Asuma chuckled. Both Kakashi and Guy were scanning the clearing intently, not paying any attention to the screaming Naruto, who was running in the exact same pattern for the 4th time in a row. Shino sighed. You have somehow learned to fool destruction bugs, have you not? The point of a sword gently made itself known at the base of Shino's skull. I don't think so. I use the same stuff on everyone. Are those bugs super good at finding genjutsu? The swarm in the clearing began to lift off, confused as to why the target was both in front of them and behind the aburame, threatening the hive. Destruction bugs are highly resistant to genjutsu because of the way their senses are processed. Additionally, they are sensitive to chakra, which should have alerted them to the genjutsu's presence. Shino could almost hear the other boy blink. Oh. My genjutsu are bent light. Shino considered it. Interesting. Louder, he said. I yield. Uzumaki-san has me trapped in an unsurvivable position. Naruto faded into sight, smiling. Shino gracefully accepted his defeat, knowing that had he been aware of the difference in Naruto's genjutsu, that the fight would have been very different. In the group of genin, who were now largely milling together, Ino leaned over to whisper to Sakura. PST. Forehead, when did Naruto get so good? Sakura scowled at the hated nickname but answered without calling her on it. Not very long ago. I overheard Sensei comment that Naruto had some very powerful techniques but he was actually really clumsy with them. No way! Ino gasped. He's already beaten Kiba and Shino. Sakura gave her friend a significant look. That tore it. Ino had to know what was going on and there was one sure way to do it. Sensei. I'll go next. Asuma looked shocked to see one of his genin volunteering to fight without being goaded first, but allowed it, wondering what was going on. As the kunoichi got into her starting position, Naruto chuckled to himself. What's so funny, Naruto? Ino sucks. I could beat her up even before I found you. The sword odd. I guess this means I won't be doing very much. Hey Ino! Would you like the first swing? Ino was a very bossy person and Naruto didn't much like being ordered around without a really good reason. Naruto wasn't a big fan of Ino's. Ino's lips curved up into a fragile smile. Such a gentleman. I think I'll take you up on that. Shintenshin no Jutsu, mind-body change technique. As Ino brought up her hands in the odd hand seal for the technique, Asuma choked on his cigarette. Damn it, Ino! Anybody but Naruto, anybody. He was, unfortunately, too late. An orb of chakra representing Ino traveled to the confused and still Naruto, sinking into his skin on contact. Kakashi-sensei, what did she just do to me, and why isn't she moving? All the jounin and the genin who knew about the Yamanaka secret techniques gawked at Naruto, who showed no signs of possession. Well, she's a body snatcher. A what? A body snatcher, or a skinwalker. It's a general name for creatures who enter the body of another for some reason. They tend to be very difficult opponents. It's not unheard of for a body snatcher to be killed only to have the thing jump free at the last second. Luckily, this one seems to be young and stupid. I have her walking trapped in the tunnels. She'll come out when she's tired. Naruto tched, snapping the audience awake. Ino's lost in my head, but she'll come out when she's... Whoosh! The chakra orb that was Ino's mind and chakra jumped out of Naruto and back into her body. Rolling his eyes, Naruto walked up to the recovering Ino and laid Black Mirage on her shoulder. Have a nice visit, Ino? She smiled weakly. No? Naruto wins. Helping Ino up, Asuma looked Naruto in the eyes. The boy mouthed she's fine, greatly reassuring the jounin. Next? Sasuke walked up, eyeing Naruto as he stood across from the blonde. Naruto stared back. Sasuke knew the most about his tricks of all the other ninja, having been on the receiving end of most of regular ones. Ready, set, go! Sasuke opened with a handful shuriken, forcing Naruto to dodge. The Uchiha had learned through a week of sparring that you had to keep Naruto on the defensive, Given even a moment to concentrate, he'd cast a genjutsu, and you'd be the one in trouble. Drawing a pair of kunai, Sasuke charged as the blonde was trying to set his feet. Clashing sounds rang in the clearing as Sasuke launched a flurry of attacks to keep the other boy distracted while he attempted to maneuver the blonde into an advantageous position. But Naruto had gotten almost as much out of the spars as Sasuke had. Working Black Mirage in a frenzied defense, he began slowly building up chakra. The sword waited patiently for the energy, passing the time creating flickers of light or false images to Sasuke's eyes to help cover for lack of skill Naruto possessed in using a sword. The blonde spent hours a day practicing, but you could only learn so much so fast. A moment later, a feint from Sasuke was enough for the Uchiha to get a kunai past his defense and stab the blonde in the arm. Poof. Cursing at his opponent's use of Kawarimi no Jutsu, Sasuke closed his eyes, listening intently. One of the few things that Team 7 had learned was that Black Mirage controlled light, not sound. If you could hear Naruto, then you knew where he was. The problem was that Naruto was incredibly good at sneaking around when he tried. The crowd of ninja watched, interested. The Jounin instantly figured out what he was doing, and most of the genin did too. The Jounin and Niji were the ones to spot the odd shimmer approaching Sasuke from an angle on the left. Once in position, the shimmer swung, belting Sasuke upside the head with the flat of the blade. Naruto moved to take advantage, but he moved too quickly and Sasuke caught a glimpse of the blurred shape of the corner of his eye and kicked out. Naruto howled and dropped as the kick nailed him in the knee. Both boys lost their weapons as they launched themselves at each other, locking into a grapple. Fists and elbows flew as they both tried to pin the other long enough to reach for something sharp. Sasuke's greater skill left him on equal footing with Naruto's gobs and gobs of experience in bare-knuckle brawling. Seeing the two tumbling across the clearing trying to beat each senseless quickly got more than a few laughs from their audience. Black Mirage was not happy about being let go, but as much as he didn't like it, swords weren't exactly an ultra-close range weapon. Fight dirty Naruto. Nobody cares about cheap tactics as long as you win. Thunk. Winces abounded among the men as Sasuke let out a pained yelp and let go of Naruto reflexively. He fought down the instinct quickly, but the lost grip ended the fight for him. Seconds later, Naruto had Sasuke in a chokehold. Asuma walked over and investigated the situation. Sasuke, can you get out? The Uchiha glared at the Jounin and sputtered something unintelligible from lack of air. Can you or can't you? Sasuke refused to give, and eventually passed out when Naruto just kept tightening his hold on the other boy's throat. Winner Naruto. It took a bit of work to separate the two boys, given their stubborn attempts to lock down each other, but it got done. As Sasuke was checked over for unexpected damage inflicted during the hold, Naruto waved off the medic nin who attempted to look over the split lip and bruises Naruto had received from Sasuke. Naruto had always healed fast, and he didn't want the medic nin to find slash or reveal the tender spot that was still carrying around from Kiba's first hit. Alright. Who wants to go next? No one stepped forward. Anyone? Kakashi turned to Sakura. Why don't you go next, Sakura? The pinkette winced. I don't want to. Sakura had learned the hard way that she couldn't take either of her teammates. Sasuke was far too skilled and Naruto could take anything she could throw at him and keep coming. I've been fighting Sasuke and Naruto all week, can't you just judge me off that? Kakashi eyed her. You didn't do very well in any of those spars. Are you sure you want me to report that? Sakura nodded. If that's what you want. Kakashi smiled at the others. So, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Choji are left. Any takers against my student? Guy spoke up. Kakashi, my eternal rival, perhaps it is best if one of the other genin were to fight each other. Naruto's advantage seems unfair. Most of the ninja caught the look at Naruto's sword. Kakashi waved Guy's concerns away. Maybe, but he is challenging himself by fighting all the other students, isn't he? Besides, everyone should have realized what his specialty was after the first fight and fought accordingly. Sasuke was the only one to do so. Kurenai added her 2 cents to the conversation. To be fair, Kakashi, genjutsu isn't very well covered in the academy. Most ninja don't start encountering it until they hit Chunin. We can't expect them to know how to deal with something they know so little about. Kurenai shot a disappointed look at Kiba. Though I hope my students would be better at handling genjutsu. Kiba quietly grumbled something about Sen not giving away someone's exact position. Kurenai put a hand on Hinata's shoulder. Maybe you should give it a try, Hinata-chan. I'm sure you'll do just fine. Hinata blushed heavily, but agreed to give it a try at her teacher's encouragement. Asuma attempted the same with his 2 male students, but their laziness overcame his ability to motivate them. Naruto stared as Hinata took her starting stance, albeit with a bit of shaking. Naruto dimly remembered her from the academy. Quiet and shy, he could remember her being in class, and her name, but he never really interacted with her at all. Still, as far as he could tell, she'd always been pretty nice, or at least she never made fun of him. I don't really want to hurt her. Is there a technique I can use that won't beat her up? A few, yes. You're right though. It would probably be best to use a gentle takedown on this one. She seems terrified of you. Naruto could only agree with him. Even just standing there, waiting for Asuma to start the match, Hinata was staring and shaking. She seemed to occasionally mumble something, but he couldn't catch it. Weirdly, she was flushed, rather than pale, but still, he couldn't think of anything else that caused a reaction like. Black Mirage had an idea, but he was more used to controlling and destroying people instead of helping them. If you want to be nice about this, hold me so the gem on my hilt is even with your eyes and then stare into hers. Be sure to channel chakra to your eyes like I taught you for the fear technique. I still can't figure out what I'm doing wrong with that one. You've never truly felt utter terror. Nervousness and fear perhaps, but until you experience something, you cannot truly force others to experience it. Now chakra, gem, quickly. Go! Hinata made a few quick hand seals. Be a Kugan. Naruto quickly flipped Black Mirage upside down and channeled chakra. Hinata hesitated. Not a very aggressive person to begin with, Hinata was very reluctant to strike out against her crush. So she stood there, unsure what to do as Naruto followed Black Mirage's instructions. There was mass blinking as Naruto and Hinata silently stared into each other's eyes for a minute before the Hyuga heiress suddenly just collapsed. She's asleep. I win, right? A quick check later, Asuma called out Naruto's victory, looking surprised. That took way too long. If she hadn't just sat there, waiting for you to try something, you would have never succeeded. I know, damn it, but who am I supposed to practice this stuff on, huh? While Boy and Sword argued possible methods of practice, Mednines hustled Hinata off to be woken up as the Jounin discussed who would go next. Choji was agreed on, and the heavyset boy started to move forward. Before he got out of reach, Shikamaru grabbed his arm and leaned forward to whisper advice in his best friend's ear. Naruto, are you ready? Naruto snapped out of it. Yeah, I'm ready. Ready. Following Black Mirage's suggestion, Naruto tried to catch Choji's eye to practice on. Unfortunately, the bigger boy had his eyes closed as his hands flew through seals to the Akimichi family techniques. Baika no Jutsu, multi-size technique. Seeing Choji balloon up, Naruto almost laughed. Family techniques were almost never shown at the academy because of security risks, so this was the first time that Naruto had ever seen this rather amusing sight. The blonde stopped laughing when Choji's arms, legs, and head all disappeared into his body. As Choji started to spin, tearing up the earth beneath him, Naruto heard something about meat and tanks, but he didn't care much for whatever the other boy was saying. Instead, Naruto shoved Black Mirage into his rune and ran for the trees, not knowing a single technique that could stop an attack this. Inside his head, Naruto could hear Black Mirage swearing up a storm. The sword could cast some amazingly powerful illusions as long as his wielder had the energy to power him, but nothing he could do worked unless the victim could see it. It was the sword's greatest weakness, and Shikamaru had quickly figured it out. Oh, the Nara boy did not know for sure that Naruto couldn't use genjutsu on blinded opponents, but he had concluded that all of Naruto's current techniques were vision-based. The blonde was now suffering the fruits of Shikamaru's intellect, desperately trying to hide from the rolling Akimichi. Cheers could be heard going up from the genin. Most of them were pleased to see someone finally put Naruto on the run, literally as the case may be, and if that meant backing Choji, so be it. Getting desperate for a little space and time to think of something other than the sword he'd come to rely a little too heavily on, Naruto reached into his pouch and drew a tag. Tying it to a kunai, Naruto jumped and twisted midair. Eat this. Hurling the tag, Naruto used the momentum to spin back around by the time he hit the ground again. Choji swerved to one side to avoid the unprimed tag, proving that he could perceive what was going on around him somehow. Bang! Several of the genin jumped as something crashed in the woods around the training ground. Sounds like the forest is getting torn up in there. Choji must be pressing him pretty hard if he's still running. Asuma smirked at Kakashi. Looks like Naruto's streak is about to come to end. Kakashi turned to smile back at Asuma. Care to make a bet? Hidden in the crook of tree, Naruto watched Choji steamroll through the forest, demolishing smaller trees and knocking around the bigger ones. So far, the only thing keeping him from being squashed was superior stealth skills and the ability to jump from tree to tree. He tried a couple shuriken, but they had just bounced off Choji's rotating bulk. He could try more tags to make the other boy back off to avoid being killed, but he didn't have all that many exploding notes, and Choji wouldn't hold still long enough for Naruto to step up a trap. Face it. You may have to just wait this one out, and hope he stops that attack long enough to ensnare him in an illusion. Naruto scowled, but silently agreed. He just hated waiting. Crash. Distracted by his conversation with Black Mirage, Naruto failed to note Choji head straight for the tree he was hiding in. Cursing like a sailor, Naruto hit the ground hard, losing his breath. Bouncing off one of the thicker trees in the area, Choji launched himself into the air and towards Naruto. Look out below! Naruto screamed as over a half-ton of Akimichi flew straight at him. Waiting impatiently, the assorted members of Teams 7, 8, 9, and 10 stared in the trees where the medic Nin team providing first aid for this event had raced into the woods after the enormous crash. Kakashi fidgeted ever so slightly, afraid that the crash was Naruto slipping with his impulse control and blowing up Choji. It was a few very uncomfortable minutes before medic Nins marched out of the tree line carrying an exhausted but conscious Choji. Asuma let out a sigh of relief at the sight of his intact student. Shortly afterwards, Naruto staggered out of the trees, framed by concerned medics. Naruto was, for lack of better words, messed up. The blonde was covered in dirt, shredded plant life, and spatters of his own blood. Strips of his wraps and ribbons were either torn or missing, and Black Mirage was still hiding in his rune. With so much of his skin exposed, it was easy to see that most of the boy's body was developing bruises. To top it all the skin over his left eye was split, and his nose looked freshly broken and reset. Looking barely aware of his surroundings, Naruto was led back to the main group. Naruto? The blonde seemed to snap into focus at the sound of his name. Uh-huh. You okay? Naruto managed a nod. Yeah. Anybody left to fight? Kurenai approached him looking concerned. Maybe you should stop now, Naruto. Yes. Guy cheered, popping up behind Naruto unexplainably, startling the genin into falling down. The flames of your youth burn brilliantly, but perhaps it is best that you retire from the field. Getting back up slowly, Naruto shook his head. No. I gotta get everyone. That's the deal. The Jounin exchanged worried looks while the genin did the same out of simple curiosity. Neji and Sasuke were the only ones who didn't seem to care. What deal? Kakashi asked, managing to sound bored. The one Black Mirage made. I get a new technique out of it. Naruto was referring to the fact that Black Mirage brokered the deal for him with the Kyuubi. The Jounin all relaxed thinking that the sword was offering Naruto a deal personally. You sure that it's worth it? Asuma asked around a cigarette. Naruto huffed and nodded. Yeah. Let's just get going. The blonde staggered back into the center of the clearing, drawing Black Mirage from his chest. Come on already, let's go. Shikamaru sighed and slouched his way out to settle across from the dizzy-looking Naruto. Troublesome. You look like Choji landed a direct hit. How are you still standing? Naruto grinned unsteadily. I'm tough, and I heal very quickly. You want a piece of this? Shikamaru's right eyebrow lifted slightly as Naruto slurred that last sentence. If I just stand here, you'll pass out anyways. Why bother? Naruto stared, processing that comment slowly. This gave Naruto time to realize that Shikamaru was standing there with his eyes closed, and a look of intense concentration. Slowly, the blonde reached into his belt pouch and removed several kunai and a stack of exploding notes. Naruto tucked Black Mirage under his left arm and began laboriously applying exploding notes to the kunai. Once finished, he tossed them at Shikamaru. Instantly, the shadow user jumped back and ducked. Naruto swore, realizing that the exploding notes were pretty much useless to get Shikamaru to surrender. Grabbing shuriken, Naruto threw them straight at Shikamaru, who dodged again, in a slightly different pattern. Troublesome. Kagame no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique. Naruto gaped as Shikamaru's shadow suddenly came alive and rushed across the ground. Still a little concussed and confused about the movement of the shadow, Naruto didn't move at all before Shikamaru's shadow attached to his. The moment it did, Naruto lost all control of his body. Huh! Shikamaru sighed before lifting his arms and opening his hands when they were extended. What are you doing, Naruto? Why did you let me go? Kagame no Jutsu. Shikamaru repeated, opening his eyes. Once caught in my technique, my opponent is forced to copy all my movements. You're helpless. Give up or I'll have you grab a kunai from your pouch and hold it to your throat. Naruto seemed to be thinking it over. Shikamaru wasn't comforted to see clarity returning to Naruto's eyes. Your shadow makes me do things? Shikamaru really didn't like that question. Why does it matter? Naruto grinned. Then, he said a single word. Darkness. Shikamaru sighed as all light in the clearing died and his technique vanished. The Nara secret techniques worked best with lots of shadows, but this darkness had destroyed all light, preventing the existence of shadows. Slinking away from where he'd been using the Kagame technique, Shikamaru headed for the tree line, hoping to escape this darkness technique before. Twack! Less than a minute after all light fled from the clearing, it returned revealing a panting Naruto holding Black Mirage like a club. Shikamaru was groaning on the ground, clutching his head. I win! That said, the blonde collapsed, Black Mirage turned into light and vanished into Naruto's chest. Well, how did it go? In the Hokage's office, the Jounin of Teams 7 to 10 stood in a semicircle in front of the village leader's desk. Puffing away on a cigarette, Asuma answered for the group. Naruto did much better than we expected, managed to take on the rest of his class and win one-on-one. It is unfortunate that my adorable genin could not test the flames of their youth against the blaze that is Uzumaki-san, but Lee looks forward to a match of youth in the future. Sarutobi sent a look to Kakashi, silently asking for a translation. Closing his ika, Kakashi drew himself upright. Naruto kept insisting on fighting all his classmates in one-on-one matches. His first couple of wins were rather easy since no one quite expected the dead last of the class to suddenly begin hurling genjutsu like they were out of style, but as the matches progressed and the genin began adapting, he nearly lost a few times. If he were to try again, he probably would not be able to defeat them all again. If Kiba had used his combination techniques at the start of their fight, Naruto probably wouldn't have pulled it off anyways. He nearly lost to Choji as it was. Karina eyed him for a second before continuing. From what I saw today, we have a fair idea of what the Black Mirage's limits are. Sarutobi gestured for the genjutsu mistress to continue since this was her field of expertise mostly. The sword only seems capable of purely visual genjutsu. It never generated a sound or scent as far as I could tell. Naruto displayed some minor talent with shadow ventriloquism and considerable stealth skills, avoiding detection most of the time even when against Kiba and Shino. That's no surprise, the Hokage murmured. Naruto has spent a great deal of time running from and avoiding his prank victims. If he hadn't picked up some stealth and evasion skills, I would have been disappointed. Anything else? 2 things, Hokage-sama, Kakashi drawled. 1. Naruto referred to some sort of deal that he struck with Black Mirage involving some unknown technique. I'll keep an eye out for it, and report on its effects as soon as I can determine them. And the other thing? It seems there is a second reason the sword is called the Black Mirage. During the fight with Shikamaru, it absorbed all nearby light, preventing any shadows from being cast. Sarutobi blinked. Impressive. Guy, what did Neji have to report to you? As requested, Neji discreetly observed all of the battles with the Byakugan active. He claims that the only technique that he could actually see with the Byakugan was the blur technique, which completely obscured Naruto's tenketsu. No other genjutsu Naruto created seemed to appear while the Byakugan was active, though they were perfectly visible once Neji deactivated his bloodline. Interesting. The Hokage mused. Thank you all for assisting in the investigating of Naruto's sword. We have yet to find any records of it in the tower, which leads me to believe that the sword may predate the village. Our records only covered about 120 years or so it is entirely possible. Doesn't that mean that someone secretly hid it in the scroll of sealing then? Kakashi pointed out. Yes, the Hokage said grimly. Yes, it does. Carrying an air of stubborn determination, Naruto walked down the drab corridors of his own mind. The last thing the boy remembered involved a fight with his former classmate / sort of friend Shikamaru and a contest. Arriving at the gigantic bronze gates representing the Kyuubi's prison, the blonde ninja couldn't help but feel a bubble of excitement growing in his chest. The fox had promised a technique if he defeated his classmates, a victory he had pulled off due to luck and surprise and not something he looked forward to again. Still, despite his excitement, Naruto was also feeling a great deal of doubt. The nine-tailed beast had promised to teach him a technique, but would the living disaster keep his word? Here for your lesson already, human? Naruto jabbed a finger at the demon lord, shouting his response. Damn right I am, and don't try anything funny. You promised me a technique and I better get one. The Kyuubi snorted in contemptuous amusement of the human's demands. If I were to try anything funny, brat, I truly doubt your minuscule human brain would be able to comprehend it. The Yuko's massive eyes narrowed. Still, as even you know, a promise must be kept. And since you have had the sense to attempt to ape your betters, the cunning Kitsune, I have decided to attempt to teach you the most basic of Kitsune attacks. Kitsune Bai. Naruto gaped. How am I supposed to learn Kitsune techniques? You contain the greatest of all foxes, brat. If there is any hairless ape in this world capable of Kitsune magic, it is you. Now pay attention, human. I have no intention of repeating myself. Shaking away any doubt or confusion, Naruto listened intently as the King of Hell described how to use and control his people's most iconic attack technique. Hidden nearby in the shadows that populated Naruto's mindscape, Black Mirage also listened to the instructions. It was not every day that had a chance to learn from such a being without paying a hefty price. It was an opportunity the sword was not about to pass up. In one of the newer growth areas in the forest surrounding Konoha, 3 figures flitted from shadow to shadow, closing in on their unsuspecting prey. The target itself was relaxing in a sunny clearing, enjoying the warmth and peace of the midsummer day. The 3 figures spread out along the edges of the clearing, keeping one eye on the target at all times. Once they were in position, each figure raised a hand. This is Fire Fan in position. This is Pink Princess in position. This is Rainbow Brat in position. Confirm target ID. Description match, complete with red ribbon over ear. Then Operation is a go, repeat, Operation is a go. At this, all three shadow-concealed figures leapt towards the target, revealing the genin of Team 7. The target, the infamous escapee cat Tora, started at the unexpected movement and tried to make a run for it. Sadly for Tora, the genin's approach had been in a well-coordinated triangle pattern, leaving no open avenue to retreat through. Sadly for the genin, Tora quickly realized this and reacted as most cornered animals do. She attacked, as viciously as possible. Son of a motherfucking bitch. Howling, Naruto went down with a snarling, clawing feline trying to scratch out his eyes. Why does it always go for me? I never did anything to it. Sasuke and Sakura watched with no small amount of vindictive glee as Naruto rolled around on the ground trying to pry the angry cat off his face. Naruto would have been super pissed to know that Sasuke and Sakura had both taken to hesitating at the last second when rushing Tora after the first time this particular D-rank mission had been assigned to Team 7. As far as they were concerned, this was just getting even for the beatings the blonde bastard kept tossing them in their spars. Sasuke was feeling particularly vindictive since he'd always been able to beat Naruto in a fight at the academy. Now though, he only won when Kakashi put some restrictions on the match. Still, Sasuke thought, we'll see how often he wins when my Sharingan awakens. Kakashi lazily strode into the clearing as Naruto finally managed to restrain Tora. Good work, team. Let's head in for our next mission. Kakashi's one visible eye swiveled in its socket towards Naruto. You alright over there, Naruto? I hate this cat so damn much. Scowling, Naruto got to his feet and extended his arms to keep Tora from going at his eyes again. If I'm the one who keeps getting scratched, then I'm picking the code names next time, Kakashi-sensei. Waving away the demand, Kakashi turned and started walking, obediently followed by his genin all the way to the Hokage's tower. Once there, Team 7 turned Tora over to her owner, the Fire Daimyo's wife. Distracted by trying to memorize the sight of Tora being squeezed to the brink of death, Naruto almost missed hearing Sarutobi listing of possible missions for them to take. Babysitting, picking up groceries, unloading a merchant caravan. Stop! The Hokage quirked an eyebrow at the sudden outburst from Naruto, but he really wasn't surprised at all. At least he had the sense to wait until the daimyo's wife left. That old rumor-monger would have never left if she sensed something potentially juicy. I take it you have something you want to say, Naruto? Hell yeah! I'm tired of these dinky kitty jobs. Give us something harder, old man. Me and Mirage need a challenge. Black Mirage mentally growled his agreement with the sentiment, badly craving conflict now that he was out of the scroll and in the hands of a true wielder. Sarutobi smiled slightly as Naruto went on a rant about how he'd never be Hokage if he never did anything cool. It was nice to see that the boy was as lively and feisty as ever. Well, if you feel that way, perhaps I could find you something a little more challenged than walking dogs. There were quite a few shocked expressions around the room at the Hokage's statement. Everyone in the room had figured that the village leader would kindly turn down Naruto's demand. Hokage-sama, are you sure that's a wise idea? After all, Team 7 only recently graduated. Sarutobi chuckled, waving away Iruka's concern. Team 7 is an exceptional group, Iruka-kun, as you know. Besides, I do have a rather easy C rank in mind for them. Tazuna, come in please. Hearing the name, Naruto discarded any idea of guarding a princess, but was still holding out hope for a daimyo's relative when a pudgy, aged drunk staggered into the room. Dressed in worn peasant clothing, the drunk squinted at Team 7 before opening his trap. These better not be my guards. It's just a bunch of brats. And that short one looks like a retard in that get-up. Naruto might have been briefly distracted by comparing heights had not Tazuna mentioned the outfit. Giving Mirage a mental command, Naruto thrust his hand forward. Having only ever seen Naruto draw Black Mirage by reaching into his chest, the assembled ninja were surprised when Black Mirage formed in Naruto's hand, the point of the blade resting less than an inch from Tazuna's throat. What was that about what I'm wearing? Naruto growled. Tazuna held very still, sweating badly. Delicately, Kakashi griped the tip of the sword and moved it from Tazuna's throat, noting the edge of Black Mirage was sharp enough to leave deep scrapes on his leather gloves just brushing against the sword. No need to be so uptight, Naruto. Tazuna is a client, after all. Snorting, Naruto called Black Mirage back into himself. Fine. But if I hear one more crack about my clothes, I'm going to give him nightmares. Sighing, Sarutobi stopped any further trouble by informing Team 7 of the mission parameters. Tazuna is a well-known bridge builder, and will need an escort back to the land of waves. So what the hell was that? Team 7 and their client were currently on the road to Wave Country, Tazuna safely in the center of their travel formation. Hearing the bridge builder's question, Kakashi looked up from his Ica novel. What was what? The Jounin asked, sounding amused. That. Tazuna spat quietly, pointing at Naruto. The thing with the sword. How'd he do that? Kakashi shrugged. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Naruto found the sword in one of the most secured locations in Konoha. It is special, and only Naruto really knows anything about it. It teaches him things, displays odd traits. It seems to have increased his aggressiveness, so I would suggest not provoking him. It ends badly. Tazuna cast a nervous gaze at the blonde as Sakura spoke up. Sensei, why are we escorting Tazuna? Doesn't the Land of Waves have a ninja village? Kakashi sighed. Why couldn't just let him enjoy the perfection that was Ika? No, they don't. Ninja villages, like Konoha, represent an aspect of military might. All daimyos each have a standing army, mostly composed of samurai. It's a requirement for being a daimyo since like any leader you can't be a leader without some way of enforcing your less popular laws. A ninja village, on the other hand, is more akin to the special forces of a country's military forces. A ninja village requires considerable backing in order to remain hidden, and that's not even thinking about the sort of capital that it takes to fund the startup of a ninja village. So, only the larger, stronger, and wealthier countries can start and maintain a ninja force. The Land of Waves doesn't qualify. Enlightenment flashed across Sakura's face. So that's why he came to us? Basically. Kakashi agreed, taking note of the puddle in the middle of the road, despite a lack of recent rain. At the front of the pack of traveling ninja plus client, Naruto was deep in thought while communicating with Black Mirage. The sword was quizzing him on its abilities and special techniques. As sword and wielder passed the puddle in the road, Mirage stirred. Did I miss it raining lately? Naruto blinked. No, why? Mirage sighed. Naruto's ability to actually think was improving, but the boy had years of thick-minded obnoxiousness to overcome. Puddle in the road. No rain. Think like a genjutsu master, details, boy. Naruto cast a look back at the puddle, thinking about what the sword said. So it's an illusion? If it is, then what's it hiding? An explosive, an attacker, something. Stopping, Naruto reached into his ammo pouch and withdrew a kunai and an exploding tag. Wrapping the tag around the handle, Naruto turned and lifted his arm. You guys might want to move. Eyes wide, Team 7 scattered, Kakashi grabbing Tazuna. The sizzling tag and kunai hit the puddle as a pair of ninja with odd garb and slashed hidden mist forehead protectors appeared from its depths. Wearing blade claw gauntlets on opposing hands connected by a chain made of razor-edged links, the two Chunin tried running from the explosion but took too long releasing their ambush technique. Boom! Reeling from being caught next to the explosion, either ninja put up much struggle when Kakashi took them down. A solid hit the back of both ninjas' head knocked them out. Clucking his tongue, Kakashi brought out a spool of ninja wire proceeded to tie up both men. I was hoping to confirm who they were after, but good job spotting them, Naruto. The tag might have been a bit much though. Naruto scratched the back of his neck, looking sheepish. Well, it's not like I know how to dispel someone else's genjutsu. I had to go with what I know. Kakashi made a mental note to teach Naruto genjutsu disruption techniques ASAP before turning to Tazuna. Well, given that I'm a jounin and my genin aren't exactly high-priority targets, I'm going to assume that the Demon Brothers were after you, Tazuna-san. Demon Brothers? Sakura asked, recovering from her scare about this whole situation. They're Chunin Nuke from Hidden Mist. They specialize as tandem tactics and assassination. If they are here though, there will be more coming. These guys never work alone. Kakashi turned and stared hard at an already nervous Tazuna. Just who did you piss off, Tazuna-san? The bridge builder sighed, deciding that he wasn't going to be able to hide this any longer. Gato, of Gato Corporation. He's trying to kill me before I can finish the bridge. Sakura's nose scrunched up as she looked puzzled. Why would anyone want to kill you for building a bridge? Because, Tazuna sighed, he's trying to keep us from freeing ourselves. Seeing the blank looks on the ninjas' faces, Tazuna continued. A year back, a businessman named Gato came to Wave and started buying companies. Once he owned most of them, he started using strong-arm tactics to drive everyone else out of business. All too soon, Gato owned just about everything. He's been crushing us into nothing ever since. Nobody knows what he's doing. Tazuna's fists clenched. What kind of CEO buys everything and then runs into the ground? But my bridge could change all of that. It'll be a fresh source of hope and income. Kakashi coughed lightly. That's nice, but you lied about the mission ranking. Tazuna's sweat dropped. He'd really hoped they would have forgotten that during his speech. I had to. Wave is super poor thanks to Gato. Even the daimyo couldn't have afforded a more expensive mission and still finished the bridge. Kakashi popped his neck and sighed. Be that as it may, you falsely reported mission parameters and you got a severely underpowered team for this mission. We're going to have to return to Konoha. Tazuna decided that it was time to go for the soft underbelly. Sure, I understand. I'll just continue on alone, and Gato will kill me for trying to free Wave from his tyrannical grasp. My poor daughter will cry for days and my grandson will hate Konoha forever, but you got to do what you got to do. Goodbye ninja, goodbye world. Waving his hand dramatically, Tazuna started down the road to Wave. Fidgeting uncomfortably, Kakashi looked at his genin, who were all staring at him intently. Kakashi flinched. God damn it. Thanks again, guys, for changing your minds. Total victory. Kakashi glared at his genin, who either smirked or smiled. Tizuna and Team 7 were at the moment being ferried across the strip of ocean that separated Wave from the mainland. Their ferryman was a scrawny and very nervous fellow, telling them to shut up any time one of them spoke. As Wave slowly became visible through the thick fog surrounding it, the ferryman seemed less nervous, but he was still obviously not happy with transporting them. The moment they hit land, he ushered them off his boat and then took off as soon as they were all off of it. Ignoring the man's rudeness, Team 7 set off through Wave towards Tizuna's house, on another shore of the country. The group traveled in silence, slightly freaked out by the fog. Kakashi was merely tense, more used to this kind of thing, but still. There is someone out there. It seems the Demon Brothers' backup arrived faster than I expected. I wonder if my genin have noticed yet? As if answering the unspoken question, Naruto snatched a kunai from his ammo pouch and whipped into the foliage to his left. Ignoring Sakura's shout about Naruto being stupid and a show-off, the blonde rushed after the kunai, reaching towards his chest. Then he froze. What the hell, a rabbit? Swearing mentally, Kakashi followed his student, fairly sure he knew what had happened since he felt something from the bushes too. Where Naruto was looking was a badly shaken rabbit with pure white fur. What the hell? What's a rabbit doing here? I could have swore I felt killing intent. Although curious about how Naruto knew what killing intent felt like, he was more concerned about the rabbit. That's a snow rabbit. The Jounin murmured out loud. Sakura and Sasuke looked at the man curiously, wondering why he was so distracted by a rabbit. They were just plain startled when he jerked upright and turned to the right side of the road. Down, incoming. The genin hit the deck. Kakashi tackled Tizuna, as an enormous sword spun the air with enough speed and power to generate a deep thrumming with its passing. Buzzing low over Team 7 and Tizuna, the sword swerved back up and embedded high up into a tree on the left side of the road. A moment later, a large muscular man wearing a gray harness, mist ANBU pants, and bandages concealing the bottom half of his face landed on the flat of the sword. The man laughed, crouching on his sword. Look at this. I came to find out why those bumbling idiots are late, and who do I find but copycat Kakashi? It's going to be a real honor to kill the man they say has stolen a 1000 techniques. Bracing one foot on the tree, the man tugged his sword free and fell to the ground, catching the oversized blade over his back without harm. Tell you what, Kakashi, give me the old man and I'll let your snot-nosed brats run home with their tails between their legs. Zabuza Momochi, the devil of the hidden mist. That's a very generous offer, Zabuza, but I'm going to have to decline. Kakashi reached for his forehead protector, shifting it up off of his eye. Team 7, guard Tizuna, don't let Zabuza get to him. Zabuza perked up. Oh, unleashing the Sharingan so early? I feel honored. Sasuke's head snapped towards his teacher. Kakashi has the Sharingan. How does anybody but an Uchiha have the Sharingan? Sasuke's eyes narrowed. He was definitely going to have to look into this. Now then, let's get started. Zabuza raised his hands in an odd seal. Kirigakyu no Jutsu, hidden mist technique. The already thick fog increased until it was like a heavy soup. Condensation instantly beaded on all available surfaces. The sudden increase in the fog was promptly followed by a voice and a massive killing intent. 8 points. Zabuza's voice echoed out of the fog: the larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular vein, collarbone, kidney, and heart. All lethal points. Tell me, how do you want to die? Don't listen to him, Kakashi shouted. Zabuza is a master of silent killing. If you panic at all, he will kill you before realize that you're dead. Besides, he said, flaring his chakra so powerfully it blew back the fog, revealing a pond nearby, I won't allow anyone on my team to die. Zabuza laughed. Too bad, I'm going to make a liar out of you. In a blur of speed, Zabuza appeared, ready to cleave through the genin and Tizuna. Die. Kakashi took off like a shot, planning to stab the man in the gut before he could swing. Long before the leaf Jounin made it, Naruto thrust his palm at Zabuza. Eat this, asshole. In a bright flash of light, black mirage formed in the blonde's hand, plunging deep into the Nuke-Nin's torso. Kakashi petered to a stop, surprised. He hadn't thought Naruto would have reacted that fast. The impaled Zabuza gurgled, before bursting into water and soaking the ground. Kakashi swore as the genin looked on, shocked. Oh, Zabuza said from the fog, sounding amused. So one of the brats has a sword? Where did you get it, boy? Out of your father's closet. Although he wasn't showing it, Zabuza was rather interested in where the blonde had been hiding the blade. He could see some nice uses for that little trick. Naruto growled into the mist. I earned this sword, you eyebrowless freak. Why don't I show you how? Letting loose with his own not inconsiderable burst of killing intent, Naruto's form shimmered and he stepped into the mist, invisible. Kakashi and Zabuza both wore identical expressions of shock, though they couldn't see it. After a moment, Kakashi allowed himself a chuckle. He of all people knew how effective copying people was at throwing them off their game. Zabuza's reaction was considerably less reasonable. What the fuck? That brat is a genjutsu/kenjutsu user. Who the hell taught him that? Calming down, Zabuza focused on his hearing, planning on spitting the brat the moment he heard something. Back with Kakashi and Tazuna, Sasuke and Sakura were both a hair's breadth away from screaming in utter terror. Zabuza, Kakashi, and now Naruto, all throwing their killing intent around? It was liking being an extra in a slasher movie and knowing you were going to get axed to increase dramatic tension. I can't stand this, Sasuke thought, trembling and reaching for a kunai. I have to get away from this, even if I have to kill myself. Raising the kunai to his throat, Sasuke was about to slit his own throat when Kakashi spoke up, moving closer to Tazuna and the two remaining genin. It's alright, Sasuke. You'll be fine as long as I'm here. Naruto is in the mist, watching out for all of us. It took some more comforting, but Sasuke lowered the kunai, but continued to shiver. He was still better than Sakura, who had completely shut down in fear. The girl wasn't even twitching. Shit. I forgot how badly some genin respond to killing intent the first few times they get hit with it. Naruto is holding up surprisingly well. Maybe I could get him to help me build up his teammates' resistance. Out in the mist, Zabuza was discovering some grudging respect for the blonde brat. The devil of the mist still hadn't heard the brat make a sound, and the little shit had almost tagged him once. If this little bastard had been in mist when I left, I would take him as my apprentice in a heartbeat. I can't drag this out forever. Maintaining the mist will drain me eventually. Guess I'm going to have to risk it. Good thing I've got a backup plan. Sneaking towards his target, Zabuza readied himself and his trap. Surprise Kakashi! Lunging out of the mist, Zabuza went on the full attack, knowing the brat was coming for him. A lightning-fast exchange between his head cleaver and Kakashi's kunai took place, ending with Zabuza using the weight his blade to force the leaf jounin into a poor stance before lashing out with a kick that hurled the copy nin into the pond. Racing after the jounin, Zabuza felt a light sting across his back. He actually tagged me. Not bad for a little genin. Appearing over Kakashi, who was noting the unexpected weight of the water in the pond, Zabuza held out a hand, the other in a seal. Sura no Jutsu, water prison technique. A large bubble of water formed around Kakashi, arresting all movement. Chuckling, Zabuza allowed the mist to dissipate. Tazuna and Sasuke stared in horror at the trapped leaf jounin. Sakura twitched heavily, struggling to come out of the killing intent-induced bodily lockdown. Forming a water clone, Zabuza sent it right at Tazuna. Your little blonde friend showed some promise, but it's over now, brats. Run! Kakashi shouted. Take Tazuna and get out of here. I don't think so. The water clone shouted, charging Sasuke. A moment before it got in swinging range, it was sliced in half by something unseen. As Zabuza swore, Naruto's voice echoed out of the trees in the same way that Zabuza's had earlier. Sasuke. I'll cover you. Fireball that asshole. Grinning evilly, Sasuke raced to the edge of the pond and started flashing through seals. Cursing, Zabuza tried to form another water clone, but the thing was sliced before it even finished forming. Gokkaku no Jutsu, great fireball technique. Dropping his water prison, Zabuza raced away from the flames as Kakashi recovered and smiled at his students. Thank you, boys. You'd better get back though, the time for playing around is over now. Turning to face Zabuza, Kakashi set himself in a ready stance. Eyeing the distance between each other, both jounin started forming hand seals at the same time. Suryuden no Jutsu, water dragon projectile technique. Roaring, twin dragons rose from the pond and lunged. Biting onto each other, the techniques struggled for dominance shortly before collapsing. Damn it! The whole lot of you are really starting to piss me off. Starting another round of seals, Zabuza noted bitterly that Kakashi was once again performing the same seals at the same speed as him. Talk about monkey see monkey do. What am I going to? Gurk. The gurk was Zabuza suddenly finding his entire world upside down and backwards. His entire perception was shot, and shifting lights burned into his eyes, stunning him. It was one of the most disorienting genjutsu that the nuke nin had ever been put in, and it worked like a charm. Zabuza was shakily attempting the last few seals when he heard Kakashi shout the name of the technique that both jounin had been forming. Daibakufu no Jutsu, grand waterfall technique. Ah shit, Zabuza managed weakly before the jutsu slammed into him like a tidal wave. Carried helplessly in its current, Zabuza was pounded into a tree trunk with almost crippling force, driving the air from his lungs. Gasping, he struggled to recover as Kakashi appeared and twirled a kunai into his hand. This is it for you, devil. Giving a short wheezing laugh, Zabuza looked up at Kakashi. Maybe, he whispered. But at least I got to see that my style will live on. Nodding in acknowledgement, Kakashi prepared to throw. Thwip thwip. Kakashi blinked, surprised by the sudden appearance of Saban in Zabuza's throat as the devil of the mist himself fell over looking shocked. As Kakashi's students and Tazuna came over, a single hunter Nin wearing hidden mist insignia came out of hiding and crouched over Zabuza's body. Thank you all for weakening Zabuza. He would have been impossible for me to take down on my own. The hunter Nin spoke with a very soft and sweet voice, obviously young, not short. A fact that no one missed, not even Sakura, who was recovering now that the killing intent was gone. No problem, Hunter-san. Glad to help out, right my little genin? The genin just sort of stared at the hunter Nin, not sure what to say. Naruto wanted to get in the hunter's face about taking Team 7's kill, but was busy trying to get Black Mirage to stop bitching about fame-stealing sneak thieves. If you'll excuse me, I have to dispose of the body. Grabbing Zabuza and the man's sword, the hunter Nin disappeared in a Mizu Shunshin. Waiting a moment to take sure the hunter Nin was gone, Kakashi dropped to the ground with a groan. Using a trembling hand to recover his Sharingan eye, Kakashi turned his head to his students. I'm going to need help getting to Tazuna's house. Obito's eye is so helpful, but it eats chakra like nothing else, especially when I use it to hypnotize someone from that range. Ignoring his students' grumbles, Kakashi allowed himself to be dragged away. Tsunami, I'm home. Head snapping up, a woman in her 20s was relieved to see her father walk in the front door. Father! You're back. As she walked to the door to hug him, Tsunami noted the barely conscious gray-haired man being carried by a blonde with the strangest clothes she'd ever seen and followed by dark-haired and eyed boy in equally dark clothing next to a pink-haired girl wearing red and white. Father, she asked slowly, who are these people? Tazuna beamed. Ninja from Konoha. They escorted me all the way here and they saved my life from a couple of Gato's hired assassins. Tsunami's eyes widened in shock before she turned and bowed to the ninja. Thank you for saving my father. Kakashi half raised a hand in a poor wave, too tired to manage anything more. Rolling his eyes, Naruto addressed the lady of the house. Do you have somewhere I can put him? He's getting heavy. Giggling in amusement at the put-upon look that Kakashi managed, Tsunami led the ninja to the guest rooms upstairs. After telling them where all the important, day-to-day things were, she left them to themselves. After the door closed, Kakashi fixed his student with a firm look. Zabuza isn't dead. What? Naruto winced badly after Sakura's startled screech. Black Mirage was going apeshit inside his head. Sakura, please don't do that. It makes me want to kill you. Cutting off any argument with a glare and a quick shot of killing intent, Kakashi continued. I was thinking about it the whole way here. That hunter Nin should have dealt with Zabuza's body right there. Since they didn't. He's not a hunter Nin. Probably one of Zabuza's minions. Sasuke scowled as he said the last part. Just dealing with Zabuza alone had been unsettling enough. Add in another attacker. Kakashi nodded. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to teach you all a technique. Get some rest tonight and try not to worry our hosts. I'll inform Tazuna about this tomorrow in private. Dismissed. In a small clearing, a masked hunter Nin hummed softly as they unrolled a specialized medical kit. Grabbing a pair of scissors, the masked figure went to cut through the bandages around Zabuza's mouth. Their hand was stopped when Zabuza shot up and grabbed the hunter Nin's wrist. Do you always have to hit me in the neck? It leaves me achy every damn time. The hunter Nin giggled. The neck has less muscles, Zabuza-sama, so it's easier to hit the right points. Besides, you know I hate scarring your body. Zabuza ignored the teasing tone that his minion took on at that last comment. Haku talked a good game, but was rarely able to follow through. Well, did you get anything? Yes, Zabuza-sama. I believe I know how you could counter copycat Kakashi. I'm sorry that I don't have anything for the blonde boy. He was gone before I realized what was happening. Zabuza grunted. Doesn't matter. Tell me your plan. Breakfast was interesting to say the least. At the morning meal, Team 7 was introduced to Tsunami's son, Inari. Inari was a young boy who somehow carried an aura of doom and gloom more intense than what usually followed Sasuke around. After eating, Kakashi took Tazuna to one side and explained that Zabuza wasn't dead. Tazuna, fearing for his family, had told Tsunami and Inari to be careful, that some of Gato's assassins were still running around. Tsunami had gasped in fright and Inari, to the surprise of the ninja, just snorted something that sounded like of course he does. Still, it wasn't their problem, and the ninjas soon headed outside to begin training. Using a cane as support, Kakashi led them a short ways into the trees before turning to face his students. Today, I'm going to teach you to climb trees. Seeing the disbelieving looks, Kakashi decided to clarify. Without your hands. Channeling just a bit of chakra, Kakashi walked a short way up and then back down the tree trunk. The Jounin chuckled a bit seeing their gobsmacked expressions. Tree walking is considered a basic chakra control exercise, and a primer for water walking like you saw me and Zabuza doing. The trick to tree climbing is to gather chakra at the soles of your feet. Producing 3 kunai, he tossed them at his students' feet. Use this to mark your progress. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm off to play invalid. As soon as Kakashi limped out of sight, the three genin grabbed the kunai and got started. The surprise of both boys, Sakura was able to successfully climb to the top of her tree in 2 tries. Feeling irked, Sasuke and Naruto took to the practice with real fervor. Feeling bored, Sakura hung around to cheer on her crush. Slam! Tazuna, Tsunami, Inari, and Kakashi all looked up as the genin of Team 7 stormed into the living room in time for dinner. Well, Sasuke stormed anyways. Sakura and Naruto followed him at more sedate paces. The pinkette was looking nervous and a little worked up, Naruto just looked smug. Oh, done already? Me and Sakura are, Naruto said, shooting a smirk at Sasuke, who clenched his fists in anger. Heck, if you show us a few more techniques, I bet I could take down Gato's thugs single-handedly. Naruto laughed, obviously joking, but Inari didn't quite take it that way. Shut up. Just shut up. You think you can laugh about Gato, but he's going to kill you all. Naruto snorted. As if I'd die that easily. You will. You'll die just like everyone else who tried to play hero. You're nothing a loudmouth idiot who's going to die when Gato sees you. Inari was vent some serious issues with his speech, making everyone but Naruto feel uncomfortable. I don't even know why you think you're here. It's not like a bunch of stupid ninja would care or understand how we're suffering. Kakashi winced as he watched Inari stumble on one of Naruto's button and mash the hell out of it. Crack! Bringing his fist down, Naruto smashed the dinner table in half without really realizing it. The blonde and his sword were both furious at this mewling brat, their deep-seated agreement boosting Naruto's abilities. As Black Mirage snarled at Inari for insulting them, Naruto decided that the boy needed a little lesson on the realities of life. You're just a spoiled little brat, aren't you? Although they all knew it was Naruto talking, it did not sound like him. It was far too low and dangerous. A predator's purr. You think that just because things look bad, you can throw yourself a pity party and have everyone kiss your ass, is that it? Well, I got news for you. Your life is a fucking vacation compared to my childhood. You have a family that loves you, a home to come to, and all the support you could want. Naruto's chakra began to burn in his fury, becoming plainly visible to all and sundry. Holy Kami, Sakura breathed, having never realized that Naruto had that much chakra. I've never met my parents, I don't even know their names or what they look like and probably never will. When I was 4, I got kicked out of the orphanage for being a monster. I lived on the streets for a month before our village leader realized I was missing. I've lived by myself, been all alone, ever since, surrounded by people who hate me for something that happened the day I was born. Naruto raised his head and everyone, including Kakashi, gasped upon seeing that the blonde eyes were now slit like a cat's and that his iris had been replaced by a swirling rainbow of color. Do you have any fucking idea, brat, what it's like to look at a crowd and know that every single person you can see wants you to die? I do. I've known what that's like since I was 5, before I ever set foot in the academy, and started on my ninja path. Suppressing a full-out snarl, Naruto turned and stalked out the door, firing one last comment over his shoulder as he went. Piss and moan all you want, Inari. I'll be around, working my ass off to make my life a better place. An awkward silence filled the house after Naruto's departure, until Sakura worked up the nerve to ask her teacher a question. Sensei, why did Naruto say all that? Kakashi huffed, but didn't dare ignore her. The last thing the village, and Naruto, needed was someone poking into the blonde's past. Because it's true. Naruto has had a very harsh life, and has been almost completely alone for most of it. I wouldn't suggest that either of you pry into it. Naruto is very private about certain things, and his past is one of the few things that sets him off, in a nasty way. Sasuke weighed in on the conversation, allowing only hints of curiosity into his voice. What did he mean when he said that people hated him for something that happened the day he was born? Kakashi looked to heavens for strength, forgetting that there were civilians in the room before answering. Naruto was born the day the Kyuubi no Yuko attacked Konoha. He was born at the worst time, and sometimes people just need something to hate. Nobody talked after that. Deep in the woods, Naruto raged, Black Mirage in hand. Screaming and howling to the sky, the two attacked everything in sight. Mirage's razor edge cut through the thickest of trees and knottiest of brush tangles while flashes of translucent blue flame scorched the earth and stones. Stumbling into a natural clearing, Naruto and Black Mirage let go of their anger in a final burst, a wave of blue flames reducing everything to sooty shambles. Humming softly, Haku strolled through the woods of wave with a serene smile dancing on the face of the full hunter Nin. The sun shined brightly, bringing cheer to the oppressed island, and luring out the woodland creatures whose frolicking delighted the gentle-natured teen. Following the flight of a small sparrow that had caught Haku's attention, the teen eventually came across an unexpected scene, an ugly scar of a clearing carved into the forest with fire. Gasping in shock at the sheer devastation done to the area, Haku's herb basket hit the ground. Shinobi-trained gaze taking in everything, Haku's eyes soon fell upon the cause of this destruction. Tensing slightly, Haku stalked into the clearing towards the culprit. It was, Haku noted, one of the boys from the Genin team, the blonde one who was a budding kenjutsu master. Zabuza-sama seemed to think he was anyways, and Haku had no evidence against Zabuza-sama's theory. Kneeling next to the boy to get answers for the damage to the clearing, Haku noticed that the boy's strange but well-made sword was not nearby. Carefully, Haku reached out. "Ninja-san, wake up." The boy started awake, one fist swinging wildly. Haku dodged it, amused. Zabuza-sama tended to do the same thing when he woke up, only with his cleaver in hand. Haku waited patiently as the boy finished waking up before talking again. "Ninja-san, why are you sleeping out here? Won't you catch a cold?" Naruto rubbed his eyes, shaking his head. "No, I'll be fine, miss." "What are you doing out here so early?" Haku's smile widened. "Oh, I was picking herbs to help my sick friend Ninja-san, when I saw what happened to the clearing." Naruto winced. "Yeah, sorry about that. I was pretty upset about something last night, and one of my powers kinda got away from me." Naruto paused as something occurred to him. Inclining his head towards Haku, Naruto chuckled sheepishly. "I'm sorry, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, what's yours?" Haku giggled, stunning Naruto, who thought it was one of the sweetest and gentlest sounds he'd ever heard. Mirage chuckled quietly. "I'm Haku. Tell me, Uzumaki-san, why were you upset, if you don't mind me asking?" Naruto flashed Haku an uncomfortable smile. "It's a bit personal, Haku. I'd rather not talk about it. Tell you what though," the blonde said, rising to his feet and offering a hand to Haku. "I'll escort you where you need to go, as a thanks for checking on me." Haku giggled again. Despite Haku's disarming appearances and manner of speech, Zabuza's tool was not skilled enough conversational to avoid arousing suspicion from the ancient sword-sharing room in Naruto's head. "You realize that this little beauty is pumping you for information, right?" Naruto frowned, surprising Haku. "She is not. She's just curious about ninjas." Mirage scoffed. "While I'm pleased that you're seeking companionship with someone other than the harpy, she's digging for something. It wouldn't be the first time someone sent a pretty face to finish what the brutes failed at." Naruto shot a sideways look at the girl at his side, suddenly reminded that Zabuza had just recently tried to kill them and their client. Haku noticed the change in the atmosphere between them and began getting ready for a quick retreat. Still, Naruto said and did nothing, quietly following Haku as the kimono-clad youth gathered various herbs. The older teen eyed the blonde, wondering if he would recognize the actual purpose of the herbs Haku was gathering, but Naruto knew nothing about plants except a few edible species, and Mirage's knowledge was limited to the herbs and plants that had mind-influencing effects. Finally finishing, Haku stood and brushed off a few clinging pieces of debris. "Thank you for watching out for me, Uzumaki-san." Naruto grunted noncommittally, still turning over Mirage's comments in his head. Haku began to walk away, pausing only at the edge of the small, undamaged clearing they had found. "By the way, Uzumaki-san, I'm a boy." Gaping at Haku, who was walking away giggling, Naruto barely heard Mirage laughing. "Bwa ha ha ha, damn, it's been a long time since I've seen a trap that skilled." "Sensei, shouldn't we look for Naruto now? I know he's an idiot, but he is a Konoha ninja. We stick together, right?" Kakashi sighed. Sakura meant well, he knew, but hearing her ask that question again and again was starting to work his nerves. Maybe the nerves of everyone else too, if the looks that Tazuna and Tsunami were sending the Pinkhead's way were any indication. "Sakura," the Jounin started. "Naruto will be fine. Given how angry he was when he left here yesterday, I actually pity anyone who bothers him right now." Sakura looked outside nervously at falling dusk, almost 24 hours after Naruto had stormed out of the house. "Still." Sasuke grunted, handling his bowl and chopsticks with hands that shook lightly from the amount of chakra he had expelled practicing earlier. "The dude Naruto will be fine, Sakura. We both know how creatively vindictive he can be when he's mad, even before he found that damn sword. Stop bothering us about him." As Sakura finally settled down, Sasuke's own thoughts stewed. It was harder than he thought to stop addressing Naruto as the dead last, but the blonde had proven without doubt that he didn't wear that title anymore. Since finding the sword, Naruto had become powerful enough, fast enough to unsettle the last Uchiha in Konoha, but he comforted himself with thoughts of his own rise once his Sharingan activated. Everyone was pulled from their thoughts when the front door banged open and Naruto slumped in, looking frustrated. Spying everyone gathered around the table, Naruto headed over. "Kakashi-sensei. That hunter-nin that was working with Zabuza, would you say that they're about this tall and feminine?" Naruto held his hand flat, a little above his head to demonstrate the right height. Kakashi blinked with the rest of the table, wondering why Naruto was asking. "Yes, that sounds right, why?" "Nothing," Naruto said quickly. "I'm going to go upstairs and go to sleep, Kakashi-sensei." Kakashi quirked an eyebrow. "Ooh, not hungry?" The blonde waved it off, mounting the stairs. Nah, I ate already. Oh, and don't worry, but I'm going to be training with Mirage while we wait for Zabuza to recover. Kakashi hummed. What if I had some training planned? Naruto paused, shooting a disbelieving look over his shoulder before bursting into laughter. The blonde staggered up the stairs and out of sight, laughing the whole way. At the table, Sasuke and Sakura looked at Kakashi knowingly. The Jounin ignored them. Well, that was rather rude of the little bastard. The next few days passed quietly for all sides. Gato and his men caused little trouble for the people of Wave. The businessman was waiting for Zabuza and his pet freak to make their move, so the grubby and greedy dwarf could make his move. Not that the two missing ninja knew it. Zabuza was healing quickly, making plans for an assault on the bridge while Haku loyally watched over him. Team 7 was busier. Sasuke had mastered tree climbing, making it to the top of any of the local trees without problem. Sakura neglected continuing her tree climbing practice, having given no thought to the benefits it would have on her chakra stamina. Once Sasuke and Sakura could perform the exercise without screwing up, Kakashi moved on to taijutsu practice and polishing their kunai and shuriken throwing skills, touching up the basic combat skills of the students that were present. Naruto was behaving like a ghost, making Team 7 and Tazuna's family nervous. The blonde appeared only to sleep, and almost never ate at the house, always claiming that he'd eaten elsewhere. As the days passed, Kakashi and Zabuza both recovered. Once the Leaf Jounin finished healing up, he went on edge, knowing that Zabuza was soon to follow. The day Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke headed out with Tazuna to guard the man, and Naruto still slumbered away upstairs, the experienced Jounin knew, instinctively, that it was the day. As the bridge builder and bodyguards disappeared around the bend of the road, Kakashi chuckled, surprising his company. Let's see what you've been up to, Naruto. Singing an old folk song under her breath, Tsunami washed the morning dishes with the ease of long practice. While the mother of one could feel the tension that lay lightly on the ninjas guarding her father, Tsunami was actually quite relaxed herself. Gato's goons hadn't been in town for a while, and with ninja around, the civilian couldn't help but think that everything would be okay. Once her father's bridge was finished, Gato's stranglehold on Wave would be ruined and their country would recover. Tsunami was just finishing the last few notes of her song when the front door was hacked into 4 pieces. Shrieking in surprise, Tsunami whirled to see 2 of Gato's favorite hired goons stepping in the doorway with cruel smirks on their faces and katanas in hand. That's the bitch the boss wants, right? The bridge builder's daughter? The smaller, silver-haired thug nodded, bored. Yeah, that's her. Grab her. The more heavily scarred thug grinned and licked his lips. You know, the only thing I got to cut up on the way over here was just a stupid pig. Since the boss wants you alive, I can't cut ya. But I wouldn't mind if you entertained us in another way. Tsunami shuddered, the goon's obvious intent to rape her sending waves of terror up and down her spine. Backing away from the men, Tsunami prepared to run out the back door and for help when her plans were abruptly ruined. Mom, what's happening? Tsunami froze, spotting her son at the base of the stairs. Inari, no! Why didn't you hide? He, the scarred goon chuckled. Well, whatcha know, the boss didn't say anything about the brat. I'm going to cut him good. Tsunami thought furiously. Inari was too old and heavy for her to carry to the bridge, and too young and slow to outrun Gato's men. If she went with them to save her son, the men would. They say that necessity is the mother of invention. Luckily, desperation is necessity's cousin. Seeing Inari standing on the foot of the stairs sparked a memory and an idea. Acting on it before the situation got any worse, Tsunami darted to her son, surprising the goons as she grabbed Inari and ran up the stairs screaming. The thugs stared. What the hell was the bitch thinking, running to the second floor? What was she going to do, crawl out a window? Naruto stirred when he heard a woman shriek downstairs. Grunting, the blonde forced himself to his feet, blinking away the sleep from his eyes. Ugh, what's going on? More screaming and rapid thumping caught his attention, injecting a little awareness into his veins. Huh! With a crash, Tsunami burst through the bedroom door, clutching Inari. Naruto-san! Gato's thugs are here, help us! Swearing, Naruto reached for his chest just as the bedroom door flew open again. Gotcha, bitch! You're going to suck our cocks for making us chase you, whore! Naruto's eyes went flat, and he pushed Tsunami and Inari behind him. Close your eyes, you two. I'm going to take care of them. Tsunami obeyed, clasping one of her hands across Inari's eyes. Either way, she didn't want him to see how this ended. The 2 thugs laughed, stepping apart. You're a ballsy little runt, but just how do you plan on taking us on? Naruto snarled, eyes flashing as he reached into his chest. Like this, you bastards! Schlunk! Schlurk! Thump thump! Tsunami murmured comforting words to her son, as the boy whimpered. No doubt the sickening sounds of a man being stabbed and sliced were bringing up memories of Kaisa's death. Silence reigned in the room for a short time before the sound of cloth being torn and wiped over something reached Tsunami's ears. Opening her eyes, Tsunami was confronted with the sight of Gado's men lying lifelessly on the floor, their blood pouring from clean stab wounds on their chests. Naruto stood above them, cleaning his sword with what looked to be part of the silver-haired swordsman's shirt. The woman caught the look in the young blonde's eyes and shuddered. They were cold and furious, flecks of different colors dancing through his crystal blue orbs. Seeing the movement, Naruto sighed. I'm sorry for making a mess in your house, Tsunami-san, but I don't like rapists. Tsunami stared as Naruto finished cleaning his sword. Dropping the ripped cloth, Naruto ducked down and grabbed a pouch from his bedside. Tsunami-san, I'm going to check on my team at the bridge, okay? Do you think you can make it to a friend's house and hide? Tsunami nodded. Yes, Naruto-kun, we'll take one of the older, hidden paths. We'll be fine thanks to you. Naruto smiled brightly, ignoring the fact that some of the spilling blood was starting to stain his sandals. You're welcome. Don't worry about that bastard Gado. After this, I'm going to take care of him myself. With that, Naruto turned and disappeared down the stairs. Once he was gone, Tsunami was quick to act, heading downstairs and away from the house, being sure to continue shielding Inari's eyes until the dead men weren't in sight anymore. Hidden in a tree at the very edge of Tazuna's lawn, Kakashi watched as Naruto rushed out of the house, wrapping bandages around his limbs as he ran. Less than a minute later, Tsunami fled the house on one of the lesser-used footpaths nearby, carrying her son. Both looked shaken, but unharmed. Sighing, Kakashi, or at least a Kagebushin, shadow clone, of him slipped into the house to figure out what had happened before following and protecting the client's family. The moment Team 7 and Tazuna got in sight of the bridge, Kakashi knew his battle-honed instincts had been right. Scattered across the bridge were the corpses of what few workers had stayed on Tazuna's project despite Gado's scare tactics, having paid for their bravery and determination with death. Bowing his head in a moment of silence for the loyal souls, Kakashi noted that his two present genin and Tazuna seemed shocked into utter silence. Not surprising. Sakura and Tazuna had never seen such things, and Sasuke was no doubt recalling the horrors haunting his past. Stepping past them, Kakashi raised his hand to his leaf emblem/eye patch, ready to slide it up at a moment's notice. Zabuza, you could just have scared them off. A deep chuckle echoed over the oceanfront as Zabuza and his subordinates stepped out the mist that was thickening around the area. Maybe. The devil of the mist agreed, smirking behind his bandages. But I was bored, and my contract with that worm Gado includes the stalling of the construction of this bridge. Happy coincidence, right? Monster. Sakura whispered, terrified. Zabuza-sama. The masked ninja spoke, their soft voice carried to Team 7 only by the acoustics of the area. The blonde one is missing, and the pink and dark-haired ones are shaking. Sasuke snarled. I'm not shaking in fear, but excitement. Zabuza let out a rough laugh as the masked ninja tilted their head slightly. I didn't mention anything about fear, ninja-san. Only Kakashi's voice kept a furious Sasuke from hurling kunai at the implied insult. Oh, Naruto? He's just taking care of other business, as am I. Everyone looked at the jounin, surprised at the comment, but he merely smiled mysteriously and gestured to Tazuna. Sakura, guard our client. Sasuke, take care of Zabuza's assistant please. Zabuza chuckled again, looking at his living tool. Can you handle him, Haku? The now named masked ninja nodded lightly. Of course, Zabuza-sama. Do not worry about him. Zabuza grinned, making a single, practiced gesture. Let me set the stage then. A moment later, a half-dozen water clones formed from the mist and attacked. Sasuke met the charge, his right arm moving in a blur, having drawn a single kunai. Sliding between the water clones with his newly improved speed, Sasuke smirked as the water clones now behind him splashed back into water. Oh. Zabuza crooned in mock admiration. A quick series of precise, tiny little cuts to dispel my clones. The little brat is pretty quick. You think you can still handle him, Haku? The masked ninja merely nodded, and then moved. Sasuke was surprised by the rapid rush, but still easily blocked the attack, a hand full of Saban needles. Pushing against Haku for superiority, Sasuke maintained his smirk. If that is as fast as you can go, then you are going to lose here. Haku giggled, shocking Team 7 with the carefree air to it. Even if it was Ninja-san, it doesn't matter for two reasons. Zabuza-sama has kindly provided me with plenty of water, and you cannot form seals one-handed. The giggling ninja raised their free hand, rapidly flipping through seals. A weakness I do not share. One-handed seals? Kakashi whispered, shocked. Sasuke, get out of there! The Uchiha Genin grimaced, seeing scores of needles made from eyes forming on the ground and floating up to surround him in a heartbeat. Sensatsu Suisho, death by 1,000 flying water needles. Seeing the needles launching at him, Sasuke knew he had one chance at this. Using an idea from one of the mistakes made during the tree climbing training, Sasuke overcharged chakra to his feet and flew into the air over the attack. Calling on the acrobatic talent he'd nurtured his whole life, Sasuke recovered from the clumsy launch and landed with cat-like grace, ready to fight. Is that best you can do? Kakashi gave a chuckle of his own, pleased to see an inventive use of basic training from one of his students. Zabuza eyed the other jounin suspiciously. What are you laughing for, copycat? Kakashi smiled broadly, scrunching his face in an odd way due to mask and eye patch/emblem. I'm just proud of them, my students. Sakura is one of the very smartest kunoichi of her generation. Sasuke is one of the elite, one of the last Uchiha alive. And Naruto, he and his sword can speak for themselves. Right, Naruto? Zabuza swore, recalling the blonde stealth jutsu as the kenjutsu-using brat snorted, still hidden. How did you know I was here, sensei? Kakashi tapped his nose. You're good for a genin, Naruto, but there is a reason I'm a jounin. Watch Sasuke's back, would you? Zabuza snarled at the casualness of the request. I guess since everyone is here anyways, let's really get this started. Kirigakure no Jutsu, hidden mist technique. With that, the mist thickened until no one could see, and the real battle started. Tell me, copycat, do you really think your little genin are going to be able to beat Haku? Kakashi's jaw muscles twitched, as he kept his ears peeled for the slightest sound. Why wouldn't they? You seemed rather impressed with Naruto before, and Sasuke isn't exactly weak. Maybe. Zabuza chuckled. But Haku isn't just a minion of mine. Haku is my greatest weapon. I've trained Haku in all aspects of the ninja profession, focusing on nothing but crafting the finest tool. And I've succeeded. Haku is strong, stronger than me even, especially with all this water to feed my tools. Hayaton bloodline. Kakashi's eye widened. Shit! I knew it was unlikely to see someone other than a snow ninja using ice techniques, but a true bloodline. I need to get over there now. Neither of them are ready to fight an elemental bloodline. Suiting action to thought, the silver-haired jounin started running to his students. 3 steps forward, the mist to Kakashi's left boiled with movement, and Zabuza's cleaver descended to chop the leaf ninja in half. Swearing, Kakashi twisted his torso and flexed his legs in a desperate move to avoid being cleaved in twain. The maneuver kept him alive, but he came away from the exchange with a long slash across his chest. Damn it. Nice try, copycat. But let the brats play. You and me are going to finish what we started, and this time you won't be getting much use from that eye of yours since mine are closed. Not good. Speaking of things getting finished, there was a grunt in the mist, followed by a loud crash of steel on stone and a loud yelp of fright. You're not bad, leaf brat, but I'm the devil of the bloody mist. A true master of silent killing. If you want to die, step over here again. Naruto! Kakashi shouted. Stop trying to get yourself killed and help Sasuke, your teammate needs you. But sensei, if we take down Zabuza, we can all jump Haku. Isn't that a better plan? Naruto, your plan to fight Zabuza wouldn't have anything to do with your desire to be famous, would it? In the mist, Zabuza quirked a hairless eyebrow in amusement at the silence that answered Kakashi's comment. As if the little brat would get credit for his death, even if these leaf bastards were strong enough to manage it. I'll go help Jackass, if it means that much to you. There was no sound of movement except. Kakashi dodged again, completely avoiding Zabuza's sword this time. Die, copycat! Sasuke peered into the thick mist uselessly, struggling to catch even a glimpse of his speedy opponent. Said opponent giggled, this mist distorting the sound, which pissed the Uchiha scion off even further. Come out and face me, coward! The mist began to thin around Sasuke, causing some of his tension to slip away. It seemed the masked ninja was not a silent killing master, and planned on rejoining the fight. Tell me, Uchiha-san, why would I come out and face you, when I can do this? Tinges of fear crawled up Sasuke's spine as the last wisps of mist in the area were sucked into the icy structures that now surrounded the genin. I'm sorry it came to this, Sasuke-san, but I'm not well equipped to fight a Dijitsu user like you. Prepare yourself, Maku Haishu, demonic ice crystal mirrors. Sasuke spun in a circle, observing the ice mirrors, noting that they covered all directions but underneath. Haku's image appeared in one of the mirrors, having stepped into it from the back. I do not like to kill, because it makes my heart ache. But against the Sharingan, I will harden my heart and slay you for Zabuza-sama. Haku's image appeared in each of the mirrors, every copy drawing Saban from their sleeves. But Sasuke thought as a storm of needles erupted inside the dome formed by the mirrors. I don't even have the Sharingan yet. Drawing a kunai in each hand, Sasuke's hands blurred as he attempted to block each and every needle seeking to pierce his skin. Dodging, twisting, jumping, bending, the Uchiha heir used every defensive trick he knew to avoid the worst of the metallic storm, kunai blocking the most of the rest. Still, a number of Saban found their way past his defenses and punctured his arms and legs. Damn it! Sasuke cursed, spotting the mirror images drawing more Saban. A second wave burst forth, scoring hits on nearly every part of his body as Haku adjusted the angles of attack. Is this the best that the Uchiha can do? Sasuke growled at the masked ninja, but said nothing. Instead, the dark-haired ninja pushed chakra into his legs and made a mad dash for one of the spaces between the hovering mirrors. A few feet away from freedom, a blur crossed Sasuke's vision as he felt a sharp kick to the chest that tossed him back into the dome. That bastard! Sasuke thought furiously. He's not throwing needles from inside the mirrors, he's jumping outside them and attacking me at incredible speeds. All I need to fight him is to just see him move. A loud crash outside the dome barely registered on the minds of the two combatants, as a flash of red danced unseen across Sasuke's eyes. Moments later, a third wave of Saban flew out. This time, knowing what to look for, Sasuke saw glimpses of movement between the mirrors from Haku's attacks, letting the leaf ninja better predict and evade the needles. Haku noticed the improvement, but still didn't see the telltale red of the Sharingan. Strange, but it could dealt with. You're getting better at dodging my needles. I suppose I must step things up. This time, the mirror Hakus removed a double handful of Saban. Sasuke braced himself, fingers twitching. Let the masked fool speak, he'd be dealt with soon enough. As the fourth wave started, Sasuke dropped his kunai and started rapidly flashing through hand seals, accepting a few senbons as a price for victory. Gakaki no Jutsu, great fireball technique. Aborting the attack in surprise, Haku retreated inside the mirrors. You missed. Haku noted calmly. Gakaki no Jutsu, great fireball technique. Sasuke roared, aiming his next fireball straight at one of the mirrors in an attempt to open a way out. Moments later, the fireball ended to reveal the mirror still standing, undamaged. I'm afraid my mirrors are unbreakable. Such weak fires cannot melt them. Sasuke gave a slightly manic laughter. I never thought I'd say this, but I wish Naruto and his exploding notes were here. Wish granted. A full 20 exploding notes went off all at once, lashing at Haku's mirrors with heat and force, sending a wave of smoke and pressure charging across the bridge and over the combatants. Both Sasuke and Haku, caught in the middle of it, flinched. In the heart of the mist, Kakashi and Zabuza slashed at each other furiously, having clashed too closely to disengage. Kakashi wielded two kunai in a manner similar to his trapped student, while Zabuza continued to swing his massive cleaver. Both jounin were bleeding from open wounds, panting lightly from exertion. Not bad, copycat. Holding me off even without your precious eye. Oh. Kakashi made a senseless noise of acceptance. Thank you for the compliment. Heh. You're still going to die. Maybe. Maybe N. K-boom. The bridge seemed to jump from the force of the explosion, shaking the jounin on their feet. A half moment later, a wave of wind and pressure blew through their fight, knocking aside Zabuza's summoned mist. There was a brief second, where all was clear, allowing Kakashi to see a frightened Sakura still guarding Tazuna, the ice mirrors surrounding Sasuke, and a shocked Zabuza standing in front of him. Seizing the unexpected chance, Kakashi drug his fingers through one of his wounds, and as the mist rolled back in, flicked the gathered blood on Zabuza. Just a little longer, students. This is about to end. Blinded by smoke, and deafened by the explosion, Sasuke nonetheless made his attempt at freedom. Running back to where he thought Kakashi-sensei was fighting, Sasuke kept his eyes closed to keep out the smoke as he neared an opening. While not a master of silent killing, Haku had been trained by one. Sasuke was about to pass between two mirrors when a handful of Saban flew across the dome and buried themselves in Sasuke's knees, dropping him instantly. Sasuke! Naruto shouted, having seen the painful attack. Haku jumped mirrors, appearing by Sasuke and then launching a kick that knocked the Uchiha back into the center of the dome once again. Tell me, boys, what part of my mirrors are unbreakable did you not understand? Naruto swore quietly. Between the mist, which he wasn't used to working with yet, Haku's mask, and all the jumping in and out of mirrors, the blonde had been unable to successfully weave an illusion around the enemy ninja. And now, Sasuke was disabled. With that many senbons in his knees, there was no way for Sasuke to walk, much less run. Naruto had to do something, now. I'm sorry, Sasuke-san, but allow me to end your pain. Haku flashed out the mirrors, senbon flying. Unable to dodge, crippled as he was, Sasuke stared as the gleaming needles rained down. I'm going to die. As the Saban slammed into Sasuke, the ninja's eyes turned red, a single tomo spinning in each orb. The newly awakened Sharingan burned for only a moment before its wielder collapsed, eyes closing as Sasuke slipped away into the darkness. Sasuke? Are you alright, Sasuke? I'm sorry, ninja-san. But your friend is gone. Is this the first time you've seen a friend die? A form in the mist rippled, nearly becoming visible. He's dead? Haku nodded. Yes. I'm afraid so. Naruto felt himself start to shake as Haku began speaking of the pain of being a ninja, the suffering of life, the loss of one's heart, and the service of a ninja as nothing more than a tool. The masked ninja words poured into his ears as he stared at the body of his teammate, a spike of jagged emotions welling up in his heart. Sasuke was a bastard, a dick, a jerk, an annoyingly arrogant jackass, but he was Naruto's teammate, his fellow leaf ninja. Dead. Naruto-san? Haku's voice was questioning, trying to draw out the hidden blonde. The Hayaton user was beginning to run out of chakra, and needed to find Naruto to end this quickly. I'm going to hurt you. Naruto-san? Haku's only answer was an enormous column of bloody red chakra erupting from right next to one of the mirrors. At the edge of the bridge, Tazuna and Sakura trembled as the bloodlust in the air increased many times over, weighing down of the two until all it was they could do to breathe and stand. What the hell is that? Zabuza muttered, shocked by the rampaging killing intent and the swelling, tainted chakra radiating from the other fight on the bridge. Not good, so not good. Did Black Mirage crack the seal? No, the sword wants to be wielded, and number 200-foot Demon Fox would. Naruto must be in true danger, and leaking demonic chakra like any Jinchuriki. I'll have to end it now. Sorry, Zabuza, but I've got to take of a few things, so we'll have to wrap this up now. Oh. Zabuza laughed, looking down on his numerous, but minor wounds. And just how do you plan on doing that? Like this. In a practiced movement, Kakashi snatched a scroll from his vest and smeared blood from his wounds down its length once he opened it. Snapping it closed again, Kakashi clenched it in meat of hands, between his thumbs and index fingers, forming hand signs. Tsuga no Jutsu, tracking Fang technique. When the technique produced a poof of smoke and nothing else, Zabuza laughed. So much for finishing this, huh, Kakashi? Zabuza, your left pant leg, above the knee in front. Confused, Zabuza risked opening one eye to glance down at his leg, barely visible through the mist. Where Kakashi had described was a blood stain. I failed to see what difference a blood spatter means. Ah, but it's not your blood. It's mine. Zabuza turned it over in his head until he heard a deep rumbling from under the stone at his feet. Fuck. Howling and barking, a pack of dognin burst from the bridge and attacked Zabuza, their teeth clamping down like bear traps as their weight and chakra pinned him to the ground, rendering him immobile. Roaring in rage, Zabuza struggled to move anything, but couldn't even lift his own arms. Zabuza. Kakashi's voice called out, as a loud and frenzied chirping filled the air. You keep calling me a copycat, so let me show you a jutsu that I developed myself years ago. It's called Raikiri, Lightning Edge. As the bonfire of red chakra built itself higher, Naruto became visible, the violent energy disrupting his technique. Seeing an opportunity, Haku drew a pair of saban and threw. A good 2 feet from the blonde, the metal needles were deflected by a veritable wall of chakra. The attack did serve a purpose though. It called Naruto's attention right to the masked nin. Silently, Naruto pointed his sword at Haku's mirrors. The Hayaton user flinched as the red chakra rushed toward the blade, filtering through the diamond on the pommel and pouring up the edge, now a cheery sky blue. Kitsunbai Foxfire. A hissing column of the blue energy blasted at the mirrors as more red energy poured out to replace the filtered chakra. Haku, meanwhile, stood ground, trusting in the ice mirror's indestructibility. It proved to be a mistake. Foxfire was as much a spiritual technique as it was physical, something the mirrors had no resistance to. For the first time ever, Haku's mirrors burned. Screaming, their creator leapt from the ice mirrors as they melted away. Forming more ice failed to completely extinguish the fiery technique, and Haku was forced to drop and roll on the ground to finish the job. Distracted, Haku failed to notice the blaze of chakra approaching until Naruto kicked the mask off Haku's face, not incidentally stunning the Hayaton user. I thought it was you, but I couldn't be sure. You seemed so nice when we talked, and that speech you gave about how your heart hurt to take another's life, were they all lies to trick us? No. Haku gasped, the burnt ninja rolling over to relieve the pain of the burns on the front of their body. It truly does make my heart hurt, but as I said, I am Zabuza-sama's tool. A broken tool now. Haku's eyes closed. Please, just finish it. Naruto paused, noting the bandages on Haku's chest through the ninja's mostly burned away kimono. I would, but you killed my teammate. I'm not going to let you off that easily. Naruto knelt next to Haku, the demonic chakra surrounding him dimming, but not disappearing. This is my sword, Black Mirage. I'd do this myself, but he is a lot crueler than me. The last thing Haku heard as Naruto pressed the odd-looking sword into her hand was an entire flock of birds chirping angrily. No! Zabuza roared, still struggling to move. I won't die this way. I still have to kill that bastard Mizuki. Damn you, Kakashi! The Raikiri in Kakashi's hand surged as the silver-haired Jounin charged the immobilized devil. Schlurk. Sorry, bloody devil. Kakashi whispered in the dying man's ear, his fist embedded in Zabuza's heart. But you are too dangerous to let live. The devil of the bloody mist didn't respond, he merely slumped in the gripes of Kakashi's dog pack, the life already faded from his eyes. Calmly, Kakashi removed his hand and dismissed his pack with a quiet thanks. With Zabuza's death, the mist began to clear, the midday sun rapidly burning away the unnatural weather. Closer than Tazuna and Sakura, Kakashi was the first to see the scene where Haku, Sasuke, and Naruto fought. The Jounin sighed sadly, seeing one of his students lying motionless on the ground. Naruto, who was still covered in flickering wisps of demonic chakra, crouched over Haku, who looked to have been lashed with fire. The blonde didn't see his teacher, or even look up until Sakura let everyone know the fog had cleared enough for her to see the remains of the fight. Sasuke Yuen! Sakura shrieked in grief, abandoning Tazuna to rush to her love's side. The bridge builder didn't protest, having already seen Zabuza's corpse. Instead, he walked up to Kakashi and joined in watching Sakura weep over Sasuke's body. "I'm so sorry, Sakura," Naruto told the kunoichi. "I tried to help, but Haku's mask helped her resist my illusions, and her mirrors were so tough." Sakura didn't respond verbally, but started plucking Saban from Sasuke's body, not wanting to see him like that. "I'm sorry," Tazuna muttered to the Jounin. "I didn't mean for one of your students to die. We just needed help so badly. Is there any way I can make it up to you?" Kakashi gave the civilian a very tired smile. "It's alright. Ninja die, it's a fact of our existence. We choose to continue the missions despite the risks, and we've made the world a better, safer place. That's all any leaf ninja could ask." Naruto cleared his throat. "Sakura, Sasuke won't be forgotten. I'll make sure he's remembered, even if I have to order them to when I become Hokage." Sakura gave the blonde a wan smile, touched he would make such a kind offer when there had been problems between them lately. "As if you'll become Hokage, stupid." "Sasuke!" Sakura shouted, hugging her crush. "You're alive!" The standing males all gaped, shocked at Sasuke's miraculous recovery. "How?" Naruto stuttered. "Haku killed you! She said that lying bitch." Naruto shot an angry look at the kunoichi, who was staring sightlessly at the sky, the hilt of black mirage resting loosely on her palm. Naruto paled as a thought occurred to him. "Oh shit. She didn't kill you. That means I for nothing." Scrambling, Naruto plucked black mirage from Haku's hand and started shaking her. "Mirage! Tell me you didn't finish the job. Tell me she'll recover." Mirage studied his wielder's thoughts before answering, knowing this could ended up badly for him. "Not completely. With help she might heal one day, but I can't offer any guarantee." Naruto growled, "It would have to do." "Kakashi-sensei, we have to help her." "Why?" Sakura snapped. "She tried to kill Sasuke-kun. If she was going to kill him, she would have. She just wanted to help her friend, just like us. We shouldn't kill her just for that." Kakashi sighed, knowing that Naruto wasn't going to like his answer, but he never got a chance to speak. "What's this? How did that stupid fucker Zabuza not manage to kill any of you?" Tazuna and Team 7 looked up, spotting Gato and 200 of his hired thugs gathered at the unfinished end of the bridge. The hired muscles looked rather bored, but the midget businessman looked absolutely pissed. That arrogant incompetent. How does a freak like that earn a nickname like Devil of the Bloody Mist and still not be able to kill a few bleeding heart Konoha ninja? Gato spat to one side. "Makes me glad I never planned on paying him." Gato eyed the leaf ninja, brightening as he recognized Kakashi as possessing a rather high bounty in a few countries. "You know what, boys, Zabuza and his bitch might be dead, but the plan is still on. Bring me those ninjas' heads and you can loot, pillage, and rape and wave to your heart's content." Listening to the armed rabble cheering and working themselves into a frenzy, Kakashi got ready to fight. He was low on chakra, thanks to his Raikiri attack, but the hell if he was going to let 200+ murderers and rapists go hog wild on a defenseless country. That's when someone started laughing. It took even Team 7 a moment to recognize the source, having never heard Naruto laugh in such a horrible manner, a terrible bitter noise. All this pain and struggling. Men killed and women's lives ruined, and it's all because of you. Naruto turned slightly to view his teammates, revealed that his eyes had become swirling pits of prismatic color. "Kakashi-sensei, you better get everyone out of here. I think I'm about to earn my ninja nickname." Standing, Naruto slung Black Mirage over his shoulder and began walking to the crowd of hired muscle who were beginning to move forward. Swearing, Kakashi popped out a few Kagebushin and had them grab everyone, including the comatose Haku. "Let's go, I don't think any of us want to see what Naruto's capable of right now." Before Sasuke could protest not getting to see the extent of Naruto's abilities, Kakashi and his clones used Shunshin, body flicker, to clear out of the area. Naruto strode right at the unruly mob of men, Mirage tapping on his shoulder, pulsing with excitement. If there was one thing the Blade loved, it was a fight of any kind. Even the Kyuubi was feeling eager, receiving the experience third hand from Black Mirage. As the blonde closed in on the bandits/killers/thieves, demonic chakra filled his body, letting Naruto know that the Bijou fully approved of what he was about to do. That fact almost made him hesitate, but the idea of so many men mimicking the actions of those two men towards Tsunami it made his blood boil. Setting his feet, Naruto brought Black Mirage off his shoulder to point at the mob nearing his position. If you bastards think I'm going to let you attack Wave, you're out of your damn minds. Inspiration flashed as he, Mirage, and the QB all focused on a single goal, the utter destruction of these men. Kitsune by Akuma no Jutsu, Foxfire Devil Technique. The men screamed as blood red and sky blue flames poured from Naruto. Sensei, look. Curious, Kakashi followed Sakura's pointing finger, and then promptly gasped in shock. A few hundred yards from the bridge, Tazuna and Team 7 stood in a wide clearing, surrounded by the residents of Wave still brave enough to try and figure out what was going on when Naruto's exploding note had rocked the bridge. As such, they were all in a fine position to see the 100-foot-tall blue fox with red accents made entirely from translucent fire. A fox whose 9 tails and breath burned everything they touched, slaughtering Gadoa's goons by the dozen and scattering the rest to the 4 winds. The beast was furious, merciless, and unharmed by any weapon Gadoa's men carried. There was utter silence as they all watched it finish its work before vanishing as if it had never been. Dear Kami, Naruto. What have you done? Sasuke and Sakura shivered at their teacher's words. The following week was a mess of tension. Everyone wanted to know what Naruto had done at the bridge, where the bodies of Gado and men had gone, but no one asked. Instead, the people of Wave decided to celebrate Gadoa's death, and once everyone recovered from their hangovers, work began on the bridge at a terrific pace. There was one thing about the situation that put off the residents of Wave. The day the bridge was completed, cerulean flames sprouted from the tops of the bridge's 4 corners and began to burn harmlessly, giving off a soothing light. When asked, Naruto could not or would not explain it, saying only that they would burn for at least 100 years, and that no evil spirit would ever pass between the 2 pairs of flames. Kakashi added it as one more question to mention to the Hokage along with Haku's continued comatose state, and the giant fox made from fire. The day after the bridge's completion, Team 7 said their goodbyes and set off towards on the new structure. As the ninja faded in the distance, one figure carrying another, Tazuna spoke up. What do you all think of this name, the Naruto Foxfire Bridge? The entire crowd murmured their approval. Are we almost done, old man? Sarutobi smiled fondly as he watched Naruto Uzumaki fidget impatiently in the center of a large seal circle. Almost, Naruto-kun. Just a few last checks. Naruto sighed, but nodded, going back to waiting and staring at the medic Nins employing the seal circle. Professionals, the medic Nins simply ignored him. Enjoying his pipe, Sarutobi was the picture of patience while the last of the tests were completed. Watching the medic Nins start packing up, the Hokage waved at Naruto. Just wait in here for a little while longer, Naruto-kun, alright? The blonde nodded, watching the village leader walk out to confer with the medics. Remind me, Wielder, why we are submitting to this indignity. Naruto rolled his eyes. It's just a safety precaution. It's not like the old man has ever done anything to hurt me. Fair enough. Wake me when we leave. Hidden behind a one-way mirror in the next room, the Hokage watched his favorite genin gain a distant look in his eyes, no doubt communicating with Black Mirage. Beside him, Ibiki Marino, head of the ANBU Interrogation and Torture Department, rifled through a sheaf of papers. Studying the results, Ibiki laid the papers down. I'm ready to give my report, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi nodded. Uzumaki-san shows no sign of increased demonic chakra production despite the manifestations spoken of in Hataki's report. As theorized, the rune on Uzumaki-san's chest draws chakra in such a way that it stimulates the seal containing the Kyubi no Kitsune. It causes no noticeable stress to the seal, and the drain on Uzumaki-san's reserves is so minor as to be unnoticeable. The boy's physical development has greatly improved since his last exam, but it is easily explained by the intense training regime Hataki reported. Sarutobi gave his pipe another puff. Then Naruto-kun is fine? In perfect shape, Hokage-sama. As head of the INT department, I hereby officially clear Naruto Uzumaki for field service. Sarutobi smiled, putting out his pipe and tucking it away. Excellent. I'll go tell him the good news. Still smiling, the Hokage stepped into the next room. Can I go now, old man, please? Sarutobi laughed, walking up and patting the boy on the head. Of course, Naruto-kun. You can leave any time now. I'm sure your sensei is looking for you. Smiling, Naruto leapt and rushed out the room. Sarutobi followed him with his eyes, smile never fading. The old Hokage had been saddened to hear that the young genin had been forced to take lives, and in such a manner, but Naruto was strong and was dealing with the situation as well as any young man could. Satisfied about the boy's health, the village leader was now more concerned about the young woman that Team 7 had brought back to Konoha. Physically in fine health, some of the best healers from the Yamanaka clan had been called in to study what was currently a unique case. From what the Yamanakas had been able to determine, the girl's mind was still present, but deeply suppressed, and barely active. Sarutobi had made certain to keep that information from Naruto. The Hokage was sure the boy was feeling guilty about what turned out to be an overly vicious reprisal, and he didn't want to add more weight to the blonde's shoulders. I wonder what she'll have to say when she comes to. Naruto had barely stepped outside the exam room when he heard a familiar voice. Yo! Naruto spun to see his teacher leaning against the wall. Kakashi-sensei, what are you doing here? Kakashi closed the copy of Ika he'd been reading and straightened up. Being a responsible teacher, Naruto. I thought you'd like a guide out of here. Leaving, Kakashi heard his student fall in behind him. So Naruto, everything check out? Clean bill of health, sensei. I guess so anyways, they let me go after all. Kakashi chuckled. True, the medic corps are rather adamant that their patients don't leave before they're healed. You missed today's team meeting, you know? Naruto groaned. Another one? Yep. Kakashi responded cheerfully. Don't worry though, I'm sure I told Sasuke and Sakura where you were at some point. Naruto groaned again. Kakashi stopped, waving a hand at a nondescript door. Here you are, Naruto. Be sure to take it easy before tomorrow's meeting. Usual place. Message delivered. Kakashi vanished in a puff of smoke. Rolling his eyes at his superior's flair for the dramatic, Naruto stepped out of the facility and started walking down the street. Not long after leaving the building, Naruto felt Black Mirage stir. So, are we going to do anything today? I guess we could get in some practice today. Mirage settled down, only for something to ping on his awareness. Stopping, Naruto turned around. Right behind him was a box painted like a rock, a small hole on the side facing Naruto. Who do I know that? Oh yeah. Hey Konohamaru. Ha ha ha. Not unexpected from my rival for the title of Hokage. With a loud pop, the box exploded in a thick cloud of smoke. Ack. Too much flash powder. Naruto shook his head, watching the cloud disperse. The blonde then waited for Konohamaru and his friends Moegi and Udan to finish their cartoon-style introduction. Once they were done, Konohamaru went right to what they wanted. Naruto! Play ninja with us. Moegi and Udan joined him in pleading with wide eyes. Please! They begged. Pretty please play ninja with us? Naruto eventually gave in to their pleading, which managed to amuse Black Mirage. Once they had Naruto's agreement, they cheered and ran off, Konohamaru in the lead, towards the nearest park. Moments after they turned the corner and got out of the blonde's sight, there was a yelp and the sound of a collision. Frowning, Naruto sped up, wondering who the kids ran into. Turning the corner himself, Naruto saw Moegi and Udan cowering in front of an older boy dressed in black, his face decorated with purple paint. He had something wrapped up on his back and was holding Konohamaru off the ground. Behind the black-clad teen was a girl in lightly colored robe-like garments, cinched with a red sash. A long black metal thing hung off her back and her blonde hair was in 4 bunches spiking behind her head. As Naruto closed in, the girl was talking. Come on, Kankuro. He's just a little kid. Just put him down and let's go. The boy Kankuro grunted. No way, Temari. This brat ran right into me. I want to punish him. Kankuro made an evil face at Konohamaru. This is probably going to hurt, brat. Naruto scowled, feeling a bit of anger rush through him. Like I'm going to let some makeup-wearing asshole pick on the old man's grandson. Calling up his recent experiences and training, Naruto projected his killing intent through his eyes, focusing it solely on the 2 teens whose headbands he didn't recognize. The effect was instantaneous. Kankuro dropped Konohamaru like he'd caught fire and stumbled back, paling. Temari didn't back away, but she did start shaking. Reaching Konohamaru, Naruto patted him on the head. Why don't you guys go home, okay? We'll play ninja some other time. No longer feeling up to playing, the 3 kids nodded and darted off. Turning to face the 2 older teens, Naruto reduced his killing intent. Who are you, and what do you think you're doing? Having been exposed to killing intent due to their little brother, Temari and Kankuro quickly recovered, but were still slightly shaken. I'm Temari, and this is my brother Kankuro. We're here for the Chunin exam. Naruto didn't know what a Chunin exam was, but Mirage had been painstakingly attempting to teach him some form of self-control when it came to his emotions. Plus, it helped that he was pissed off and there was nobody to play up to. I didn't ask why you're here, I asked what the hell you thought you were doing picking on a couple of kids like that. Putting a snarl in his voice, Naruto spiked his killing intent a bit. It got a reaction. Nothing at all, Kankuro said quickly, backing away again. Naruto harumphed, but decided to let it go. As a genin, he didn't much authority over things like that anyways. Plus, the kids were safe. Fine. But if I catch you picking on little kids like that again, getting caught by ANBU is going to be a mercy compared to what I'll do to you. Turning around, Naruto went to leave, but Temari called out to him. Wait. What's your name? Naruto Uzumaki. He called back, not turning around. When the 2 older teens didn't say anything else, Naruto left. Breathing a sigh of relief, Temari and Kankura considered themselves lucky to get out of a confrontation with a ninja wielding Jounin-level killing intent without fighting. Or, at least they did until they heard the swirl of sand that was distinctive to their brother San Shunshin come from behind them. Gaara! Temari squeaked. What's wrong? The youngest brother was silent, staring after Naruto for a minute before responding. Mother is interested in him. Temari and Kankura instantly swore not to get between the two when Gaara managed to fight the leaf ninja. A quiet murmuring filled the room as many of Konoha's Jounin, special Jounin, and Chunin met for an announcement by the Hokage. Once everyone was present, Sarutobi raised his hand, getting instant silence. I'm sure many of you know, but for those of you who do not, the time has come for Konoha to host the Chunin exam. There was a short-lived buzz from the Jounin. Starting with the Jounin who are currently teaching rookies, is there anyone who would like to register their team for the exam? One after another, Kakashi, Kurenai, and Asuma stepped forward and nominated their teams for the exam. As the crowd started chattering in surprise at rookies being nominated, Iruka moved forward and shouted. Wait just 1 second. Why are you doing this? Teams 7, 8, and 10 were my students until just recently, and I feel that they are not ready for something as harsh as the Chunin exam. The gathered ninja began whispering to each other about Iruka's outburst as Kakashi looked up from his ever-present book. Oh really? Kakashi shot back, smiling behind his mask. The death of Zabuza Momochi and over 200 bandits in Wave says otherwise about Team 7. Silence filled the room. The Devil of the Mist, and how many bandits? Iruka choked out, utterly stunned. The academy teacher had been busy lately, and had not had time to seek out Naruto, but this no. Hokage-sama, please tell me Hatake is lying. Sarutobi sighed, not entirely pleased with the public release of that information. I'm afraid Kakashi is not lying, Iruka-kun. While Kakashi handled Momochi, Naruto was the one who took care of the bandits. I see. Iruka managed. I withdraw my protest. A few of the ninja present sent the man a sympathetic look as he retook his place in the crowd. Now then, the Hokage said, let us hear recommendations from the rest of the Jounin sensei. Team 7's meeting the next day was quiet. Sasuke was brooding, Sakura was watching him brood, and Naruto was listening to Mirage describe something called a whirlwind attack that sounded awesome, if a pain in the butt to learn. Hello kiddies. Sorry I'm late, I got lost on the road of life. You're late, Sakura shouted, remembering at the last second not to screech near Naruto. Hey sensei. Naruto mumbled, more interested in Mirage's story than his teacher's habitual lateness. Sasuke grunted. Kakashi sighed, disappointed that only one of his pupils was willing to play today. Today's meeting is going to be pretty short. Kakashi produced 3 slips of paper from his vest. These, my students, are applicants to the Chunin exam. Naruto perked up, remembering that phrase from yesterday. The Chunin exam, Sakura exclaimed. Are we really ready to test for Chunin rank? Naruto thought. Makes sense. Kakashi shrugged. I think you are, but if you felt that you aren't, don't sign up. It's important that you only take the exam if you feel that you're ready. No pressure. Smiling and waving, Kakashi vanished in a swirl of leaves. All 3 genin looked down at the applications, noting that the slips told them to come to room 301 at the academy in a week's time. Slowly, Team 7 split apart, each planning on contemplating if they were ready or not at great length. The week passed slowly for them, and Kakashi seemed to go with the flow on this, focusing on polishing their skills instead of attempting to teach them new ones in their distracted state. Kakashi made doubly sure to check Naruto's progress on the Kai release technique, not wanting the blonde to start chucking exploding notes at examiners who were employing genjutsu for one reason or the other. Finally, though, it came time for the exam to begin. Sakura even showed up a little early, eager to spend time with Sasuke. As the exam approached, the Pinkette found herself to be less and less nervous about it. After all, she had Sasuke on her team, and Naruto too, who could apparently turn into a 100-foot-tall fox made from fire. What was up with that anyways? Sensei never did explain it. Sasuke-kun, are you ready to ace the exam? Sasuke nodded to her question before heading inside the academy. Naruto and Sakura hurried after him, not wanting to get separated so early in the test. Team 7 walked through the academy along with the rest of the examinees, only to encounter a strange situation. A pair of genin or chunin that nobody recognized were standing guard in front of a door with a 301 sign hung above it, which made no sense given that this was only the 2nd floor. Naruto was more focused on the action going on as one of the unfamiliar genin had just socked the pink-shirt Kunoichi from Team 9 hard enough to knock her to the ground. Still a little sensitive from the thug's behavior back in Wave, Naruto marched forward, trailed slowly by teammates who had a pretty good idea what had just set him off thanks to the stories Tsunami had been telling about what a personal hero Naruto had been for her. Hey asshole! Naruto shouted, catching the leftmost genin's attention and gaze. Sleep! Naruto barked out, enforcing the order with chakra just as Mirage had taught him. The assembled crowd began whispering quietly when the door guard dropped instantly, snoring lightly. "Hey!" the other genin said quickly, backing away with his hands up. "We were just trying to help, get everyone worked up for the exam. Grab your friend and leave," Naruto told him, jerking a thumb over his shoulder. Once he did, Naruto turned to the kunoichi that had been knocked down. "You okay, miss?" Tenten blushed, embarrassed that she was being treated like a weak little girl. Still, that was the cover they'd picked so people would underestimate them in the exam. "Thank you," Tenten muttered, getting to her feet. "No problem," Naruto responded. "Everyone good to go?" "I'm been ready, Naruto," Sasuke said sharply, not happy about wasting time on a bunch of weaklings. Yeah, Naruto chorused, following Sasuke as he headed up the stairs with Sakura. "I still can't stand the fact that you're the group leader, jerk." Tromping up the steps, Naruto was blissfully unaware of the rumors that were spawning behind him as the other genin wondered what skills Sasuke had that made him leader over the obviously skilled genjutsu user blonde. Approaching room 301, the genin of Team 7 were surprised to see their sensei standing in front of the double doors. Waiting until they stopped in front of him, Kakashi addressed his students. "I'm glad all three of you decided to show up." Kakashi briefly considered explaining why he was glad, but decided to do so after the exam. They'd find out soon enough, and he probably didn't want to be around when they did. "I just wanted to let you all know that I'm proud of you for taking this step, students." Smiling, Kakashi stepped aside and waved Team 7 into the room. As soon as the genin were out of sight, Kakashi chuckled evilly and started rubbing his hands together. "Mock your sensei and the glories of Ika, will you? We'll see who gets the last laugh." Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura weren't sure what to expect when they walked into the room, but being stared at by almost 200 fellow genin sure as hell wasn't near the top of the list. All three teens froze for a moment, startled by that many glares and stares being aimed their way. The effect of the crowd was lost though when Ino came out of nowhere and latched onto Sasuke with a squeal of delight. "Sasuke-kun!" Sakura went to yell at her rival in love for touching her Sasuke-kun, but stopped when she saw Naruto wince at the sound of Ino's voice. The pinkette merely smirked, knowing her blonde teammate was about to knock Ino-pig off her high horse. "Shut the hell, Ino, before I make you." The Yamanaka heiress flinched, her hold on Sasuke loosening as she tried to move away from Naruto. It was hard not to be a little frightened if someone had proved to be completely immune to your best, only, special attack. "Sasuke-kun, make Naruto stop being mean to me," Ino cried as her two teammates walked up to the group. "Like Sasuke-kun would protect you when I'm his teammate." Shikamaru and Choji ignored Ino and Sakura arguing and addressed Naruto and Sasuke directly. "So you guys got roped into this too? Troublesome." Sasuke ignored the Nara boy, more concerned with getting his fangirls to let go of him. Naruto, on the other hand, smiled brightly and took the chance to brag a little. "Dragged? No way. We earned this chance at promotion. Hey guys. It looks like everybody from our year is here." Even Ino and Sakura stopped fighting long enough to watch Team 8 slip out of the crowd and over towards the rest of their class. Kiba grinned boldly, jabbing a finger at himself as he continued speaking for shy/reclusive teammates. "I hope you guys are ready to get left in the dust. We've been training like crazy to get here." "Oh yeah?" Naruto shot back. "We're going to kick your butt." Blushing madly, Hinata stepped between the two boys before they could really get started. "Naruto-kun, Kiba, please don't fight. The exam is going to start soon." Naruto had a bit of trouble understanding the Hyuga princess's quiet mumbling, but he and Kiba both backed down instead of shouting at each other with a girl physically between them. The commotion seemed to have attracted attention to them though, as an older boy with gray hair walked up to them. "I know you rookies are excited and everything, but you're going to piss everyone else off if you keep making noise like that." The older boy nodded towards a group of genin from Hidden Rain. "Those guys are particularly short-tempered for some reason." Seeing the Leaf genin rookies staring at them, the Rain genin made an effort to be intimating, even leaking out some killing intent. Sasuke ignored their mild bloodlust, having been exposed to the likes of Zabuza. Sakura, despite being able to ignore it, didn't like being the focus of the killing intent, especially since some of the other genin were joining in an attempt to bully the rookies out of the room. "Naruto," Sakura whispered. "Making them stop, okay?" Flashing a smile at his teammate, Naruto nodded. "Sure thing, Sakura-chan." "Hey Mirage, ask the furball if he wants to make a room full of people piss themselves?" The answer was a very quick and emphatic yes. A moment later, Naruto's eyes turned blood red and gained cat-like slits as the blonde sent a wave of killing intent through the room. Being at his side protected Naruto's classmates from most of it while the rest of the room got a full dose of the demon-influenced bloodlust. With a handful of exceptions, everyone drew back, their projected killing intent washing away like a sandcastle before the tide. Grinning toothily, Naruto addressed the crowd who had begun to sweat. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm going to beat this exam and become a Chunin, and if anybody thinks they're going to stop me or my teammates, I've got a bag full of horrors and nightmares for you. Cutting off the killing intent, Naruto turned to his classmates. What do you guys think? That'll show him not to mess with Konoha ninja, right? Off to one side of the room, Neji watched Sakura thank Naruto for taking care of what she asked via the Byakugan from where Team 9 had taken up after slipping in through the door. Next to him, Tenten shook her head. I can't believe Blondie was hiding a bloodlust like that, can you? Lee frowned. Naruto-san's actions seem unyouthful. Neji deactivated his Byakugan. I do not believe that was purely killing intent. Uzumaki's eyes became red an instant before he flooded the room with his bloodlust. Tenten's eyebrows went up. You don't think genjutsu? Most likely. Neji agreed. He displayed some talent for the skill during the post-graduation exhibition matches. A most subtle use of genjutsu. I must tell Gai-sensei of this. Neji and Tenten rolled their eyes at Lee's idea of subtle. Kankuro and Temari shivered at the sight of their little brother's manic grin, not knowing or caring that a grass genin in the middle of the crowd was smiling in an eerily similar manner. At ground zero, Kabuto Yakushi plastered a sickly smile on his face to maintain his false persona. Inwardly, the medic ninja marveled at the sheer level of bloodlust the blonde was producing. For such a young individual, Naruto was displaying a remarkable talent for controlling killing intent. Perhaps it was a gift created by the presence of the Kyuubi no Kitsune? Very interesting. I do believe I would attempt to gather information on this group even without Orochimaru-sama's request. Now kiddies, let's not get worked up. Why don't I? Poof! Which one of you pukes is the one throwing around killing intent like you think you're someone? Naruto blinked as the vast majority of the genin in the room suddenly pointed at him. Ah crap. Naruto winced as the large bear of a man leading the Chunin examiners began storming towards him. The scarred man grabbed the blonde, lifting him clear off the ground. Alright punk, just who are you? Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage? The man snorted. So you say, brat. But right now you're just another worthless punk I have the misfortune of having to deal with. The man dropped him and scanned the room. I'm Ibiki Marino, proctor of the first exam. You little shits are going to keep quiet and behave or I'll have you tossed out on your ass, got it? Ibiki followed up his question with a spike of killing intent. It wasn't the flood Naruto had produced, but it certainly got their attention. Growling, Ibiki got the genin moving and organized into the test room and randomly selected seats. Alright, listen up. Ibiki bellowed from his new position at the front of the test room. The first test is a written exam. There are 10 questions, and you have 1 hour. If you get caught cheating 5 times, you'll get expelled. And finally, this exam is a team effort. If one of you fails, your entire team is disqualified. Any stupid questions before we start? When no one took the bait, Ibiki glanced at his watch and looked back up. Begin. As one, the genin flipped over the test and got to work. Near the middle of the pack, Naruto stared at the paper in front of him blankly. In his head, the blonde sensed something like shock? Shock felt about right. Mirage? What the hell is this shit? Yep, that was shock alright. So, I'm guessing you're not going to be able to help me with these questions? No. Try the fox, see what he has to say. There was a few minutes of silence as Mirage and the Kyuubi talked. Naruto, meanwhile, made his brain ache trying to figure out the simplest of the questions. Despite having done a lot of work on his observational skills under Black Mirage's guidance lately, Naruto was not an intellectual. The Kyuubi wants you to know that he's a demon, not a scholar, and that you're on your own. Naruto swore. This was Sakura's thing, not his. Shit! Now what? Minutes crawled by as Naruto started sweating. What to do? Cheat. It's all you can do. How? I don't know any spying techniques. There was a pause from Mirage. I bend light. Think about it. He did. Can we do it with you inside the room? It is only a minor trick, reaching only as far you can see, and it doesn't work around corners and dark places. Place your hand on my rune. At the front of the room, Ibiki watched from the corner of his eye as Naruto Uzumaki placed his hand on his chest, the upper decoration. I wonder what he's doing. The special Jounin watched him closely, but spotted nothing but a slight use of chakra. Dismissing it for now, Ibiki glanced at watch, noting that it was almost time to give out the final question. Waiting until the puppeteer genin came back from the bathroom, Ibiki spoke up. Alright, if the doll show is over, it's time to give out the final question. The genin straightened up, paying attention. The blank 10th question had confused more than a few of them, and all the genin wondered what kind of question the proctor had up his sleeve. Before I give out the last question, there are a few rules about it I have to explain. This just doesn't count for points on your test. If you can't answer this question, you fail this test completely, and not only will you be expelled from this exam, you will be banned from ever taking the Chunin exam again. There was a roar of protest from the examinees. Ibiki stared at them blankly, projecting a slowly increasing amount of killing intent at the genin until they finally fell silently. I don't care what you think or say, as the protector of the first test, my word is law here. However, the Hokage asks that I give you an option for the pansies here today. If you spineless brats don't want to risk your careers, you can quit now and leave. You will have failed this exam, but you will be allowed to take future Chunin exams. Now, what's it going to be? There was a droning from the genin as various individuals debated/considered the options. It was almost a minute later that someone raised their hand. I give up. That single surrender opened the floodgates and genin began quitting in droves, their teams being dismissed with them. Seeing this, Sakura bit her tongue. The kunoichi had been toying with the idea of quitting to avoid the more dangerous parts of the exam, but Sasuke-kun would never forgive her if she did, and Naruto would be pissed if she cost him his chance at promotion. The pinkette kept quiet as more and more team left the room, until BWA ha ha ha, I can't hold it in anymore. Ha ha ha, like the old man would let you ban people from the exam for life. There's no way he'd be that cruel. The genin around Naruto looked at him, as if he crazy. Who's the old man and what the hell would he have to do with the exam? Naruto shrugged. Old man Hokage, of course, who else? Naruto kicked back lazily, enjoying the shocked stares from the rest of the room. So, are we going to get that question or what? Ibiki looked over the crowd of examinees for anyone else who was going to give up, but the blonde brat's comments seemed to have shaken up the entire room enough that they had forgotten what was going on around them. The cowardly losers that would given up soon, anyways. Time's up, brats, time for the last question. Attention shifted off of Naruto and onto Ibiki as they waited for it. Slowly, the head of the INT department allowed himself to smirk. Everyone still in this room passes. What?